HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde.
There aren't any Jasons 12 and under. That's a dead name.
Packers Hall of Famer, Mark Tauscher.
How many kids do you hear, hey, Marky, it might be almost to the point of Ruth?
Live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios in downtown Milwaukee at the 3rd Street Market Hall.
You love that name so much, you don't even go by it.
If you call me Mark, I'm fine. I like my name. I like my name a lot.
This is Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch.
It's Wilde and Tausch, isn't it?
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
I think things are trending in a direction that I believe will get some less than supportive calls from our fan base. But that doesn't mean it's the wrong thing. Edition. Some interesting answers and lots of non-answers yesterday from the head coach. We'll have to wait and see what happens next edition. And if you have frustrations that you'd like to get off your chest, as always, we are here for you. Edition of Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, although I'm having a little bit of an issue with mine at the moment, but I'll be on soon. And, of course, everything you need on the all-new, although not as new as it was, but all awesome ESPN Wisconsin app, which you can find both in the Apple and Android app stores. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios from his undisclosed location. Although maybe he's in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios too. I can't see him at the moment because I can't get my video to work properly. He is the Packers Hall of Famer. He is Mark Tauscher. Tausch, good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. I still am kind of in that, yesterday you woke up and you're kind of like, I can't, that really happened? That game play out the way it did? And then, today you're kind of, reality is kind of hitting, and now the Adam Schefter news reporting that kind of what everybody else reported before the game on Saturday. And I don't know, you always get prisoner of the moment after a gut punch like what we saw Saturday night. But this is, I think this is not going to go, this is going to go over not great in the Packer lore, especially early this offseason, if they do come to terms, and I'm sure they will. You don't put that out there if that's not where you're at. So Matt LaFleur, I think he's going to be back, and if he's going to be back, I do think there's going to have to be changes. But man, he is up against it. The pressure that we anticipated him not having going into Seattle on Saturday is ratcheted up as we thought. This is going to be a long, hard, difficult offseason for the Green Bay Packers, trying to figure out what they need to do to stop having what has happened really over the last 16 years in the postseason becoming a regular occurrence. That's where I'm at.
Jesse, where are you at on this? Because I'm very curious to get the calls pretty much immediately.
Yeah, the calls are lining up already. I think the question that needs to be asked is, has Matt LaFleur gotten the Green Bay Packers as far as he can take them? It kind of reminds me of Ned Yost with the Brewers in the
you mean the Ned Yost
2000s.
that won a World Series with someone else,
yes.
right?
It is possible that Matt LaFleur can be a championship caliber coach, and he may go somewhere else and win a title or contend for one. But with this core group of players, two of which were not healthy for the final stretch of the season, in fairness, has he gotten them as far as he can get them? If your answer is yes, then it's time to move on from him. If your answer is no, I think he can still propel them further into the postseason if situations were different, if he makes adjustments, whatever it is. I think I'm in the camp that he can get them further than what they have done. I think it's been last year they could not. They exceeded expectations 2 years ago. And this year, disastrous injuries down the stretch of the season. Expectations were not high for a majority of Packers fans going into the playoffs. But the way the game played out Saturday, clearly that narrative flipped for a number of people. But I don't think Matt LaFleur has gotten the Packers as far as he can possibly get them. And for that reason...
Why do you say that? He's had 7 years. He's had different eras of it. Why do you say that?
Because he's gotten them to an NFC Championship game two times, right? Yeah, 2 times he's gotten to the NFC Championship game.
The first one wasn't.
It was different.
I'm saying that was like that. I know it's 6 years ago, but it feels like it's 10 years ago.
And it was with Rodgers as opposed to with Jordan Love. Beating the Cowboys in a 2-7 game. They're still the only 7 seed that's ever won a playoff game against the Cowboys a couple of years ago. They just need to not be the 7 seed. And they wouldn't have been the 7 seed this year if Micah Parsons doesn't get hurt or if Tucker Kraft doesn't get hurt, or for sure if both of them don't get hurt down the stretch. Injuries are a part of the game, but also like the 49ers just lost George Kittle in the game yesterday. They won, but are they probably going to win the Super Bowl? And are they going to say if Kittle was healthy, they could win the Super Bowl? Probably. It's going to be different now. Injuries aren't a full excuse for why you don't perform well, but it can be a reason for why you don't ultimately achieve what you want to achieve. And that has to be considered in the conversation about his future and what this season ended up being.
So one of the questions I have is, that's what I get anytime I bring up the injuries, right? Well, look what the 49ers have done this year. And it's fair. How come nobody says, well, look at what the 49ers did last year? Why doesn't anybody say that? Because that's great what they've done this year. I am in no way, and I think Kyle Shanahan is a fantastic coach. He also seems to be in perfect harmony with his general manager. But last season, they were besieged by injuries, and they went 5-12. And there were people that were doing the same thing to Kyle Shanahan despite 2 Super Bowl appearances because he didn't win them. That they are saying what they're saying about Matt LaFleur now, right? Like, it's hard. You're talking about Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft. And so I'm not saying that those are the only reasons why, they had a lot of injuries, so they should keep him. I don't think that's...
If I may jump in. I don't know what's going on with our video. All that's great. And I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but we had a 21-3 lead. Nobody thought we were going to win the Super Bowl this season after Micah got hurt. Like, I think stuff can happen, and it's a wide open NFC, but the 7 seed and 3 road is going to be, at least that's how I felt. Uh-huh. But that's no excuse for what happened Saturday night. None. And what happened the last time in Chicago. None. So that's where I'm having a little bit of a disconnect, and I think Packer fans are understanding that going into Seattle was going to be tough sledding, even though Sam Darnold's a turnover machine, without Micah and without all of the injuries that we have. Yes. But we were able to get out to a 21 and should have been 24-3 lead at Soldier Field. And the part that is the most troubling to me is I wasn't shocked that it played out the way it did. When we got stopped 3 and out to start the second half, I thought, oh boy, we're not built, or whatever is going on. There is something about this team and how it's been the last couple of years where we don't step on throats, we leave it out there, and we continue. In the NFL, crazy stuff can happen. If you don't put people away, crazy stuff will happen. So while I agree that, falling short of a championship, I didn't want us to have the mindset that it would be okay. We all understand there's excuses and there's reasons, but there was no excuse for what happened in that second half Saturday. None. Don't give me injuries. Don't give me any of that. That was just I don't even know what. I was trying to diagnose how and why it happened. Caleb Williams made a couple of nice plays. The Bears battled. The Bears believed that they could, and the Green Bay Packers thought, boy, I hope it doesn't. That's what happened. And once that snowball started, we didn't have, other than Matthew Golden making a great play, which I thought had snuffed out the rally, the Bears never stopped believing, and we started continuing to think, what could go wrong? And that is where I have the hardest time dealing with the next 4 or 5 years of Matt LaFleur. How is that going to change? Because I can tell you, those psychological scars, they don't leave. You suppress it, and it's a new season, but that's the issue that I'm wondering, how is that going to change? And that's where you saw all of this online commentary, and I saw you say it. I saw James Jones, who works for the Packers, say it. I don't know how you let him back in the room. It's a good question. I did not say
that. He said that, just to be clear.
Yeah, he said that. You said something similar to that. I don't know exactly your quote, but you would not be surprised. You don't know how you could bring it. I don't know. You can speak for yourself. I can't see you, but you can speak for yourself.
844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. We will get to your calls coming up. Just to catch you up to speed, just as Ian Rappaport had reported going into, although his phrasing was very delicate, going into Packers-Bears, Adam Schefter reporting this morning that the trending is toward Matt LaFleur returning, and the Packers and the head coach working out a resolution about his future here in Green Bay. I am guessing that a number of calls that are already on hold don't love that. As I said after our conversation on Sunday Karma yesterday with Craig Karmazin, the easy thing to do with the villagers at the wrought iron Lambeau Field gates carrying their pitchforks would be to fire him. Right? Everybody will be happy. I think the harder thing is to decide that this is what you're doing, that you think that this guy is still the right guy, and there need to be some adjustments to certain things that you do organizationally, and definitely some adjustments to some of the things he does. But if this is what Ed Policy's first major decision is going to be, he's going to have to be ready for criticism, because I can feel the fan base lining up to make a very clear statement on how they feel about this. We will get to your calls coming up. 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. We'll get to your calls after Tausch tells us about Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
And for your New Year's resolution, the sky is the limit with Pella's 0 interest for 4 years. Finance offer, no payments, no interest for 4 years. Think of everything you can do in 4 years. Get a college degree, raise your toddler while they're getting ready for school, and you can serve a full term as president. Start your journey toward meeting your personal goals and enjoy Pella's highest quality products with exclusive features custom made for your home. This deal ends January 31st, so schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Your calls next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some... Why are you throwing... I don't want...
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
By me, by the way. I hit that microphone like 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or Sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1-day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's 4 walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here, you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
It's Jason Wilde from Wilde and Tausch. Upgrade your industrial supply services with Lakeland Supply, your trusted ISO certified partner for custom packaging, shipping supplies, janitorial, and safety supply solutions. With over 40 years of industry excellence, Lakeland Supply is a proven one-stop source with over 95% of their products made in the U.S. And they treat their customers like family. Personalized service with a national reach. That's what Lakeland Supply does. Visit lakelandsupply.com to discover how they can make your business better.
Can you feel it? It's the thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a game-winning touchdown, a buzzer-beating 3. Yeah, you know the feeling. And there's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration. Potawatomi Sportsbook. Catch all the action in a supreme space with dozens of sports betting kiosks, cool drinks, luxe seating, great food, fiery atmosphere, and a monster video wall. Become a legend at Potawatomi Sportsbook. More info online. Must be 21 to enter casino.
$2.3 million. A recent Schwab survey of Americans says that it takes $2.3 million to be wealthy. Well, you may have had your financial plan set on a bigger or a more humble number. But if you're looking for added insights on how to get there or how to avoid some tax pitfalls on the way, Annex Wealth Management is ready to listen. Mark Tauscher here, and whether your situation is complex or simple, the Annex Wealth Management team can give you wealth expertise and guidance on reaching your goals. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
According to Time Magazine, Gen Z is drinking 20% less alcohol than all previous generations. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Over our 65 years in business, we've stayed up on all the trends, where you'll always find 2,000 varieties of beer, 4,000 types of liquor, and over 8,000 wines. We now also stock over 100 varieties and growing of THCA, CBD, and Delta-9 non-alcoholic specialty-infused drinks. So whether you're experimenting with the latest wellness trend, or you just want something in your fridge that your college kid can call you cool for, come check out our expansive selection. And while you're at it, you do deserve that bottle of bourbon. Discount Liquor in Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma and in downtown Waukesha on Barstow and Maine.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
And visit us online at discountliquorinc.com.
After a crash with a semi-truck, everything can change instantly. At Gruber Law Offices, we have the knowledge and experience to make sure you're protected. And we're here to help whenever you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Eight 844-770-3776. Let's get right to your calls. Jesse, how did you phrase the question you want to ask? What are you, Tausch? Do you believe that they've gone as far as they can, or what? Something to the effect of
Has Matt LaFleur gotten the Green Bay Packers as far as you think he can take them?
It's a great question.
Hey, Jason, quick question before we take calls. I believe, the only thing, obviously, that NFC Championship game against Seattle was a bigger collapse, and obviously the stakes were higher. But you wonder, how does a team respond to Mike McCarthy that next year after having your heart and guts ripped out like that? Mm-hmm. What do you think? How do you view this? And I didn't want to misquote you, so I wanted you to be able to quote yourself rather than me quote you on your thoughts right after the game on what you felt about where Matt LaFleur's at with his job status.
Yeah, I was in the immediate aftermath of the game. I was having a hard time picturing Matt LaFleur not losing his job over this. And that was, again, kind of the guttural reaction in the moment. At the same time, then you spend a little more time thinking about it. And look, you know what my issue is here. My issue is that we don't spend any time taking a look at the roster building technique and whether or not there is a tweak to be made. Look, we should definitely spend time talking about in what ways Matt LaFleur should alter what he does. And Matt LaFleur said yesterday during our Q&A session with him that they have to look at everything from a coaching perspective. What does he need to do differently? And I think he will. I would certainly hope that part of this equation, if he indeed is going to be extended and continue as the coach, if I'm at policy saying, all right, let's take a thorough look at how we do things and what do we need to do differently. My issue and the thing that I just don't think, I'm not saying, this is, again, Johnny Nuance. I'm not saying that the approach of being young is the wrong approach. Far from it. Because younger players get hurt less. Younger players are going to continue to grow and get better. They are, you would hope anyway, hungry, right, to prove themselves and earn their next contract, all those things. So it is not purely, they're too young all the time. It is more nuanced than that for me. And again, I'm working on this story about their maturity or lack thereof. And in multiple conversations I had, you could say it's Matt LaFleur's fault. And look, Matt LaFleur is the head coach of the football team. The buck stops with him, Truman. But, I look at a team that, to me anyway, on Saturday night, couldn't deal with success of being up 21-3, right? Mike McCarthy, our biggest challenge, will be handling success. And then when they faced adversity, didn't do a good job of handling that either. And so, to me, there is a value in having a handful, 3 or 4 guys that really are those bedrocks of, hey, when things are going really well, they're going to keep on our butts to not let up. And when things are going to hell in a handbasket, they're going to lift us up and make sure that we handle that adversity. And when I look at this team, I see Josh Jacobs. And I don't know who else I'm supposed to see that has that kind of gravitas. And to me, that is, I saw Micah Parsons, but he was up in a luxury suite with his crutches, warning them via Twitter not to let up. That's not the same, right, as being on the field. And so and to be clear, I'm not, I know, I get teased that I hate Goody and everything else, but that's not true. But I do think that there is a conversation to be had about how can their roster building technique be a little more beneficial to them handling the highs and lows of games and of seasons. And I think, and again, Davante Adams is one of my favorite players, but do I think that Davante Adams would have been a valuable piece to this team, even with all the young receivers they liked? Of course I do. But that type of personality doesn't have to be a superstar player. But Rashawn Gary was a captain on this team. Did you see from him the type of leadership or example setting, given some of the moments of effort where we saw they were open to question? Did you see the type of leadership that you would say, okay, that's a guy that when things go to hell, not a high snap count guy, is going to make sure that we're going to be okay? Like, think about your teams. Think about the kind of offensive lineman you had. Think about the types of guy you were. And again, I'm not, and I say this, as you well know, with the greatest amount of respect for your career. But you've said yourself your body was breaking down toward the end. That didn't mean that you didn't have value on the 2009 and the 2010 team before your injuries. I'm not saying we need a bunch of 11th year veterans, but I do think that there is an immaturity to how this team handles themselves. Whether they make announcements like we could go undefeated and then we never talk to Rasheed Walker the rest of the season. There is something to that. And I don't think I'm wrong. And I think there are players who are mature who would back me up on that. The quarterback does not have the same personality as his predecessor. So look, we can have a conversation about Matt LaFleur and that he needs to do a better job. And I don't disagree in any way. There have to be demands put on him, assuming he does return. Also, there need to be fresh ideas. You can't just keep giving guys that left here and then lost their jobs elsewhere jobs to come back. What fresh ideas, and this is not, I'm using Luke Getsy as an example. What fresh ideas are Luke Getsy bringing? What fresh ideas is Nathaniel Hackett bringing? I mean, you have him working on the defensive side. But, you could change the red zone to the gold zone again. Maybe that's why they were 3 for 3 to start the game. I don't know. But my point is that it's never one thing. And it feels like the entire conversation, Matt LaFleur let his foot off the gas. They threw the ball 74% of the time in the second half. Does that sound like letting your foot off he wasn't running Josh Jacobs into the line of scrimmage 3 times and punting. They had 4 possessions. They got 19 yards. They sucked offensively. Their offensive line failed to adjust, and that is partially Matt LaFleur's job and partially Adam Stenovich's and partially Luke Butkus's job to figure out how the hell to protect your quarterback, because he was star-spangled awesome if you gave him any time whatsoever to throw the football on Saturday night. So my issue here is, and yes, I did say that to Homer at 1:30 in the morning on my way back to Green Bay. And in the immediate aftermath, it does feel like, holy cow, how do you bounce back from this? Right? But again, I think smart people, and I'm not putting myself in that group, but I think smart people can adjust what they're thinking. I would think that James Jones, with a little more time to contemplate it, would not say something to the effect of, you can't let him back in the building? I mean, yeah, I suppose if you're Mark Murphy, you can not let Mike McCarthy back in the building until the next day, so he can say goodbye to his team. But again, I know that I said it to Craig yesterday on Sunday Karma, and I thought Craig said some really, really interesting things. I tweeted them out if you haven't seen them. But to be honest, when this starts to trickle out that they're going to work on an extension and it's not done, and there's still certainly things that can go awry, but we all knew what the response would be from a large majority of the fan base. I don't know who was polling it yesterday, but it was about 2/3 that did not want him back. I can see that. I'm not surprised by that, especially given that we're not even 48 hours removed from a loss that is in the pantheon of Terrell Owens' catch in San Francisco, 4th and 26, the 2014 NFC Championship game. I mean, there's other gut-wrenching losses and embarrassing losses, but those are the Mount Rushmore for Packers fans of the modern era. So I get all that, but I'm still not sure that it can solely be laid at Matt LaFleur's feet, and it feels that's what people want to say.
I hear everything you're saying, and the question I have is, you saw the resiliency, and I don't want to use the term grit, but that is, football's a game of grit and resiliency. You're going to get knocked down, and we saw that with the Chicago Bears. We didn't see that. We didn't. On Saturday with what the Green Bay Packers did. There's some mistakes. There's using that timeout. There's even with all that, the thing that is really troubling to me is we caught every break in that game. This wasn't the ball bouncing goofy and an onside kick. And, we fumble the ball a couple of times and we get it back or they don't pounce on it. There was break after break went our way. And you have a coach on the other side, if they don't win that game, he made some of the worst decisions you ever saw in the first half because they were desperate because they knew they couldn't stop Jordan Love in this offense. And we still ended up losing. And by the way, it wasn't some miracle. We ended up, that's the part of this, it's this game. Playoff football stands on its own. And my question is, how do you get to where your team – under this leadership, because Matt LaFleur is going to be back in Green Bay. I know all the semantics, and unless he's asking something outrageous, which I doubt he will, he's going to be back. What is going to change, and how do you go about changing it? Because what we've seen is you get 3 picks against Tampa in a postseason game in the second half, and you can't cash in and find a way to do it. You have a much better football team, and your special team stinks. Your special teams, first off, if Matt LaFleur comes back, this special teams better be completely overhauled. Again, because it ain't working. Mm-hmm. That has to be part of it. And then, obviously, the offensive line had a bad year. They did. The mixing and matching and everything, it didn't work. So there will be changes there. And that is going to be, I think, the top of the list, as it was, by the way, last year. And Goody, say what you want about Aaron Banks. I think he got better as the season went on. This whole thing, it just didn't work this year. It didn't. Jordan Morgan's going to be out at left tackle. But the question I have is, how do you get a mentality shift with a coach that's been there 7 years? How do you change that mentality? Because right now, people look at Green Bay, and by the way, his best friend in the world, Bob Saleh, felt like we take these boys out, drown them. Dan Campbell said it. That is whether you like it or not, that's how the rest of the league views the Green Bay Packers under Matt LaFleur, is that we can out-tough and out-physical and out-mental this group. That's when you talk about drowning people out in the middle of the ocean, that's what you're saying. They won't tread water longer than we will. That's what he's saying. What's going to change? How will that change? That's the question I have when Ed Policy makes this decision along with Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is a smart dude. He is a really good offensive coach. Can you switch that part? I don't know the answer to that. But if you're going to do this, somebody better have answers, and they better be able to execute those answers, because last Saturday night, Ben Johnson had the same philosophy that Dan Campbell and Bob Saleh had. And by the way, we drown in Lake Michigan. That's what happened.
So, Tausch, again, you always believe in solutions. So let's talk about solutions before we get to calls. If you believe, which we do, that Matt LaFleur will now be back based on the way things are trending, and that's not a done deal yet, but it is certainly appears to be trending in that direction. What are your solutions? What do you say some things have to change? So what would those be?
Well, I think obviously you're going to switch special teams coaches, and I would be shocked if there's not some shifting on the offensive line. The offensive line needs to be better than what it was. And, I'm obviously biased. I don't know what James Campen is up to. He is the longest-serving assistant coach in the history of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, he works for the team. He's here.
James Campen interviewed with Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur had a system, this outside zone, all this stuff that he felt like Steno and everybody else, and that's great. And by the way, a lot of good things happened offensively with Adam Stenavich and with Matt LaFleur. But there needs to be a concerted effort to get this football team in a better mental state of mind. And I don't know how you go about doing that other than bringing in some tough sum blanks and are going to demand tough sum blanks that play for them. That's how you switch that. And if that's different players, different coaches, Matt LaFleur is going to be Matt LaFleur. I don't think you're going to sit here and all of a sudden say Matt LaFleur is going to be Clint Eastwood, walking through a swinging door saloon, guns blazing, shotting down whiskey, and being the last dude, toughest. I don't think that's going to be the case. But that doesn't need to be the case. Bill Walsh won that, and they won a lot of championships, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know Mike Shanahan. I'm not sure how tough. I don't know all that. But I know this. Their teams had a toughness about them. And right now, when you look at what happened Saturday, would anybody sit here and tell you, and I just keep going back to Bob Saleh, Dan Campbell, and now obviously Ben Johnson, and they all view things the same way. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't have the solution. I don't know. Like if I'm Ed Policy, before I ink Matt LaFleur to a big boy extension, I'm making sure I have some answers that I feel comfortable with because it ain't good enough to be a 7 seed 3 years in a row in Green Bay. It's just not. But if you sign this extension, do that, I'm telling you right now what fans are going to say. And they're not going to care about injuries or anything else. They're going to say, we're settling for mediocrity. That's what fans are going to say. And I'm guessing that's what our callers are going to say when they call in today.
844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. The Packers players will be cleaning out their lockers today. That will commence for us in terms of our access to them as they do so at 10:10. So I will turn over the reins of the program, which I think appears will be popular in the YouTube comments, to Jesse, and then I will return once we are done talking to players as they donate their cleats and all the other things that they'll be getting rid of out of their lockers this morning. 844-770-3776. That is the Carbless Talk and Text line. Less is more. We will get to more of your, we'll get to starting with your calls. Now that Tausch and I have had our conversation, coming up after I tell you about Associated Bank. I'm going to miss doing our 3 things to watch presented by Associated Bank every game day. Did last week's Saturdays from outside of the Associated Bank gate here at Lambeau Field. That's all over, but their customer service is not. They're always going to be the best in the business. They've got the awards to prove it because that's what matters most. And remember, it's not branches that make a bank local, it's roots. And Associated Bank's roots run deep in Wisconsin. If you want to make the switch, go to AssociatedBank.com. There you can find out about early pay so you can get access to your money up to 2 days early from your direct deposit from your employer. Credit monitoring to make sure you're ready to make that big purchase like we did with our Steinhoffel's furniture. And, of course, fraud protection, which they were there for me when someone tried to get my identity and our millions upon millions of dollars that we have in the bank. Go to AssociatedBank.com to find out more. Your call's next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch continues next on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
4 years. That's enough time to earn a college degree, to serve a full term as a president, to train for something big and become someone new.
You bet, and get 0% interest for 4 years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, so you can invest in your home and in life's biggest moments. With exclusive features and customizations, Pella offers the highest quality products at a price you can afford.
Aim high when setting your New Year's resolution and imagine what you can do in 4 years when you finance your home project with Pella. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Gruber Law Offices. One call,
That's all.
They treated me like family.
They're actually people that you can depend on.
They made me feel seen. They really treated me like I was a part of their family, a part of their team.
They ask how you're doing, how you're feeling.
They're just so welcoming and so sweet and kind.
It's like family, caring about another member of the family.
If you've been injured, it costs you nothing to see if Gruber Law Offices can help.
Mark Tauscher here for Iron Jock. Well, it's a new year, and that means new goals. Iron Jock is here to help you stay committed to those goals, whether you're hitting the gym, heading to work, or just trying to smell a whole lot better in 2026. Formulated to fight sweat, odor, and bacteria, Iron Jock keeps you feeling fresh no matter how hard you push. But right now, you can get 30% off all Iron Jock gear on orders over $75. Just use promo code ESPN30. That's ESPN30 for 30% off your order over $75. Shop now at ironjock.com.
It's time for the Marquette Minute on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Matrix Basements.
The Golden Eagles came up just short in a 76-73 loss to Villanova on Saturday at Pfizer Forum as they were unable to convert at the buzzer to force overtime. Freshman Nigel James Jr. was sensational, finishing with 31 points and 6 assists while going 7 for 9 from three-point land.
Off in the corner to Stevens, back to Chase Ross, off to James. Open
Still
three,
hot.
Good again!
Still
and
hot.
good again! 23 for Nigel James.
He could be hot. After 2 home games this past week, the Golden Eagles will now hit the road as they'll take on St. John's on Tuesday and DePaul on Friday. I'm Will Summers.
This has been the Marquette Minute on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Matrix Basements. Visit gomarquette.com/matrix to enter to win 4 tickets to National Marquette Day Saturday, February 7th when Marquette hosts Butler.
Here's to a Wisconsin winter you will always remember. To playing outdoors in a winter wonderland. Here's to cozying up around the fire and holding someone close. And to staying downtown, where the food scene makes your heart sing. And to celebrating moments frozen in time. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your winter getaway at travelwisconsin.com. Sponsored by Travel Wisconsin.
People say buying a home in winter is tough.
But fewer buyers means less competition, and motivated sellers can mean better opportunities.
This is Tony Wendorf with Tony Wendorf & Associates First Weber.
And I'm Lindsay Bendler. When the perfect home appears, our team at Tony Wendorf & Associates helps you move fast, even during the snow.
Start your home journey today with our white glove service by simply searching online Tony Wendorf.
A real estate team that always leads with faith and gratitude.
Tony Wendorf & Associates.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Sponsored by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Eight 844-770-3776. Let's get to your calls right away. Thanks to everyone who's been holding on for as long as they have. I know we've had full phone lines for a while. We go down to Chicago and begin with Thomas. Thomas, good morning. Welcome to Wilde and Tausch. Has Matt LaFleur taken this team as far as he can?
Yes. He's had chances with both the Aaron Rodgers-led team and now with Jordan Love. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft available for the Browns and then the Cowboys game and then part of the Panthers game before Kraft got hurt?
Sure.
Yes. And we lost those games? Okay, yes. So we
Wait, how many teams went undefeated this year? Just to clarify, how many teams didn't have a bad loss this year? How many teams went undefeated?
I mean, 0. But, I mean, you lost to the Browns.
Those games deserve criticism. Don't get me wrong, Thomas. They deserve to be criticized for those performances. But go ahead.
I just, where is, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to, I think all Pac fans are just frustrated just seeing this Schefter news. What is policy going off? To me, Like, so if he coming back, so that means that LaFleur has lost control and that he's being told what to do or else he's gone. So what does that say? That means that this guy is just some sad puppy dog being told what to do and just doing whatever he can to keep his job or else he gets fired. Like, what does that say? And, like, what is policy going off of to judge to keep him? Like, he's had 7 chances, 1 in 5 of the last playoff games. And, like, the fact that someone should be telling Ed policy is, we saw this coming, and how can we bring him back for that? And then, like you said, Goody should also be the fall, and then just start over. But then, like, again, it just goes to the part of what is he seeing to justify bringing him back, and what does it say that it's basically out of Matt LaFleur's hands to do anything, or else if he goes against it, he'll just get fired.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the dynamic. I look forward to Ed Policy answering questions when this is all resolved. You know, I would say this, and I'm fascinated by some of the responses in our YouTube chat. I get it. People are frustrated. I get it. There's many of you who don't want this to be what it appears to be the resolution will be. How many years did Andy Reid coach in Philly? And
13 or 14, I think.
And how many Super Bowls did he win there?
0.
Now, he did have the success he had elsewhere, right? So it wasn't at the place he started out at. So let's just play out this hypothetical with a 3-time Super Bowl champion and former Packers assistant who Ron Wolf admitted in retrospect he had his next coach after Holmgren left in his building, and instead he opted for Ray Rhodes, which was obviously a mistake. But he was the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles from 1999 through 2012. I am guessing, and I don't remember, but I'm guessing there were plenty of people calling whatever the Philadelphia equivalent was of Wilde and Tausch many years going, I don't want this guy to be the coach anymore. I get it, right? Hey, look, the video worked. I understand that. Totally get it. And so I understand that there's going to be frustration here. I understand that Packers fans don't want this. I guess I look at, because I don't want to have to be in this role either. I don't want to be Johnny apologist for Matt LaFleur here, and that's the way I'm winding up today, which is fine. Jesse, can you stop putting me on video until I get this thing situated? I would just say this. When I look at where this team is at, well, I finally got this damn thing to work. It's been a day. And so my question is, what makes you so sure that this guy sucks as a coach? Because that's the vibe I'm getting from a lot of people.
I don't think people think he sucks. I just think, Jason, here's what I think.
No, I think there's a lot of people that think he sucks.
No, but I understand. But nobody is going to say that he sucks as a regular season coach. Nobody. What people are saying is he can't get it, and the big moments come, we're not getting it done. That's what they say about Matt LaFleur.
Right, and my question is,
whether that's a big
how much of that is just him?
Game,
what percentage blame does he deserve for that?
But that's not how the world works, Jason. You know that you're responsible for everything. And you, Truman, that's how this works. It's not. Life ain't fair as an NFL head coach. Tough luck. Mm-hmm. Does anybody think that he's not a smart, offensive-minded guy? Everybody feels that way. The league does. There's nobody that thinks that's not the case. People are questioning, can he match the moment? The moments are big. Is he able to match them? And I thought he got a lot better with the challenges and all the emotions. I think he's gotten better. And this is the part that you have to wonder, and this is what Ed Policy's banking on. He is getting better. He's growing. And you made this big splash move with Goody to bring in Micah, and you opened a 3-year window to go win now. Mm-hmm. And this year didn't. And it's out. Some of it is outside of his purview. Do I think that they would have won if Micah Parsons was playing on Saturday? Yes, I do. But that's not the reality. And I have rightfully taken a lot of heat about ifs and buts or candy and nuts. I own that. That's true. It sounds whiny, and it is completely fair. Bear fans are crushing me, and I take it because that's fair. But that's where Ed Policy is banking. We think we got the right pieces. We have to figure out how to keep everybody healthy and play our best ball. The question Packer fans rightfully have is, what makes you think it's going to be different? These big moments, we continue to fall short, and in painstaking ways. The part that is just so dumbfounding, and I felt this way, and I'm certain most Packer fans felt this way, after that second 3-and-out, even though we stopped the Bears, one of them, everybody thought, oh boy, here we go again. That's as a fan base. That ain't healthy. So what's going to change? How are you going to change it? That's the million-dollar question. That's why this is even a conversation, because if you were just going off of wins and losses and records and the fact that Matt LaFleur's been in the playoffs every year but once, nobody would even be asking this question about should Matt LaFleur be back. Green Bay's different. Green Bay has different expectations, and they're falling short. And that's why fans in the YouTube channel are all pissed off, and everybody. Because while this year was a little bit different, blowing an 18-point lead to your arch rivals that everybody hates, and now this, right? You wanted a rivalry, Jason Wilde? You got one.
I did. Mm-hmm.
You wanted a quarterback to match Jordan Love? You got one.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go.
One quick question for you, because he was having what I would say was his best game of the season. Do you remember what the score of the game was when Edgerrin Cooper was injured?
21-9? 21-6?
21-6. Again.
Okay.
I understand. The 49ers lost George Kittle yesterday, and they still found a way to win. You already are without your field-tilting star that you acquired because you recognized that your roster, as it was constructed, was not going to win a Super Bowl, right? Otherwise, Goody doesn't make that move to open that 3-year window. And then you lose a guy who was unbelievable for the first 2.5 quarters. You would agree that that was the best we saw from Edgerrin Cooper on
I think
Saturday
he's been
night.
pretty good most of the year, but yeah, him and Quay both, I thought, showed up in big ways Saturday.
Yeah, I thought so too. So again, and I understand that the buck stops with the head coach. You guys know that I am a huge Halfley guy. This was not the first Bears loss where the defense played great for 59 minutes. They failed to recover an onside kick. They give up the game-tying touchdown on a bust and then lose in overtime. This was allowing 25 points in the fourth quarter, the third time in NFL history that a team has scored that many points in a fourth quarter in a playoff game. Do we have to at least say something about the defense? You can either say
defense stunk in the second half. Yeah, and part of it is Cooper being out, but you had no answers for your tight end. Yeah, you got to come up with it. Was almost like Plaxico Burress in that NFC Championship game. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, one last thing. All right, so for the foot off the gas crowd. Okay, Packers go 3-and-out on their first possession of the second half, 2 passes, 1 run. Packers go 3-and-out on their second possession of the third quarter, 2 passes, 1 run. Packers third possession, there was that amazing completion to Darian Kennard when they blew their protection, and that was the only option he had to throw to. That was a pass, then another pass, then another pass, then another pass. I guess my question is, what constitutes letting your foot off the gas for Matt LaFleur?
You could say the defense let its foot off the gas. It doesn't have to just be offense. I didn't think Matt LaFleur went into a shell.
I didn't think so either.
I just think we started feeling the moment. And that's, listen, playoff football, you feel moments, man. But you feel it, and nobody could pull. Matthew Golden, I thought, saved us. He pulled us out of it by just being a beast. Jordan Love was fine. Like, I'm not blaming Jordan Love in this. I thought our O-line played junky. We couldn't run the football at all because, trust me, Matt LaFleur wanted to line up and just pound the football, suck clock, win the game. And to his credit, he ended up throwing it 75% of the time because they couldn't run the ball a lick with Josh Jacobs.
They could not. Nope.
So I'm not blaming Matt LaFleur letting up defensively, and it was more of a who is going to step up and say, no, it ain't happening, Captain. And Matthew Golden did.
He did.
He didn't.
Did you have him on Prize Picks? Because that would have been a good call by you.
I had McManus. I'm trying to think.
How'd that go?
Picks, I won one. I won one. I lost one. Prize Picks was fun. Big matchups, playoff intensity. Oh, we felt that. And elite hoops almost every night. A lot going on, and it is great to be right on Prize Picks. Simple to play. All you got to do, pick an entry, get your player projections, pick more or less, and you're done. No drafts, no waiting. Just get your lineups in. You can do it in under a minute. I went Stafford more. I had Bryce Young with a tutter. So my day was good on Prize Picks. Jump in. It's fun. You got a game tonight that you can play. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use that code WI to get $50 in lineups after you play that first $5 lineup. Again, that's code WI to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good
to be right. Wilde, please stop talking. Okay. We'll get to more of your calls next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance. All the antics.
The reason he's not running the ball real well this year is because his pants are way too high. Do you see him pull his pants up? Check it out.
All the action.
How do you have a delay a game after a timeout? How on God's green earth? It's almost like he's in over his head. You need better assistant coaches. I'm sorry.
The best of both worlds lives right here. Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank. Tri-City National Bank offers a full suite of personal and business banking products at more than 25 convenient locations. Open your account today at the community bank that's Milwaukee's best bank. Learn more at tcnb.com.
Despite leading 21-3 at halftime, the Packers had a historic collapse in the wildcard round of the playoffs against the Bears on Saturday. A Chicago touchdown gave them the lead with just under 2 minutes, and Jordan Love would be unable to lead a game-winning drive as the Bears would go on to win 31-27. Here's head coach Matt LaFleur after the game.
You know, adversity is part of this game, and bottom line is you got to find a way to overcome. And if you don't, you got to answer a lot of questions for it.
The Packers finished the season with a 9-8-1 record and are expected to work out an extension with Matt LaFleur this offseason.
This has been your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank.
Concerned about fraud? Tri-City's got your back. Use debit card alerts. Help stop a card hack. You'll get notified when your card's being used so you can prevent your account from abuse. Tri-City National Bank, member FDIC.
With your Saganiac Planning Marquette recap, I'm Will Summers. Looking for their second straight Big East win, the Golden Eagles fell 76-73 against Villanova on Saturday. Freshman Nigel James Jr. was incredible as he tallied a career-high 31 points to go along with 6 assists.
James inside, back out. Now James has an open three. He'll try another one. Good! Nigel James, 4 of 5 3-point shooting. That's what you call a Novak.
Marquette now hits the road to take on St. John's on Tuesday.
For your fellow fanatics and your number one fans, for your game day compatriots and your personal cheerleaders, for all the reasons you smile, get covered with dental and vision insurance from Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision. Support your overall health so you can be your best for those who matter to you most. Call Eric Pearson. Eric Pearson, Saganiac Planning, 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
Can you feel it? It's the thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a game-winning touchdown, a buzzer-beating 3. Ha-ha, yeah, you know the feeling. And there's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration. Potawatomi Sportsbook. Catch all the action in a supreme space with dozens of sports betting kiosks, cool drinks, luxe seating, great food, fiery atmosphere, and a monster video wall. Become a legend at Potawatomi Sportsbook. More info online. Must be 21 to enter casino.
This is Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, letting you know that Siding Unlimited installs Pella windows and doors. That's right, Siding Unlimited installs windows, and we do it really well, earning the prestigious Pella Platinum Premier National Certified Contractor of the Year award 5 times. New windows, our expert team will deliver on a smooth, hassle-free installation, making you feel proud of calling Siding Unlimited for your window project. What's the next step? Call 262-567-4513 or go to sidingunlimited.com.
Start your Milwaukee weight loss program now to lose weight fast. Many lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. Call for your free consultation. 262-235-3980. 262-235-3980 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Let's get to your calls again, 844-770-3776. Let's begin. I've lost track now. With Mo in Illinois. Mo, good morning. Welcome to Wilde and Tausch. What are you thinking?
I'm gutted. I'm sick to my stomach. I don't feel any better than I did, especially being at that game was absolutely brutal. It's funny. My buddy that I went to the game with, he's a Bears fan, and I'm sitting there at halftime, and I'm ticked off. The minute Brandon McManus missed that field goal, I just felt the momentum swing. I had a really bad feeling going into the second half. And lo and behold, the Green Bay Packers go 2-0 on 2 straight drives. And that's when I was mentally preparing for the worst-case scenario. We've seen this movie too many times. What can go wrong with the Green Bay Packers will go wrong. And that's been the story of the season all season long. I described this team as a very immature football team earlier in the season, and they prove it time and time again. When the brights get light, they crumble. When the brights get light, they have mental mistakes. And it's just one of the things that I noticed, and Tausch, you're a player, and I didn't see this going on too much when you were there. I don't like how this season and the players on the Packers have talked too much. They gave a lot of bulletin board material or whatever they call it to opposing teams, and I didn't like that. You had Christian Watson talking this week. You had Keyshawn Nixon talking this week. Keyshawn Nixon should be the last one talking. You had Jeff Hafley, who I love, but what he told you, Wilde, and the reporters, that, we'll see you next week. I didn't like it. Ben Johnson, who I can't stand, he took offense to that. He mentioned it post-game. And my last point that I'd like to make to you all, I sent a tweet out, and it's going a little viral right now. A lot of people agree, but a lot of people disagree. I don't feel too strongly about Matt LaFleur. I think he's a better offensive coordinator than he is a head coach. But my ideal vision would be the following. I would like Robert Saleh as the head football coach of the Green Bay Packers. I would hire Mike McDaniel as the offensive coordinator, and I would bring in Raheem Morris as the defensive coordinator, assuming Hafley leaves. I think Saleh is a man amongst men. He's a tone setter. He's a culture setter. He's exactly what this football team would need, and that's my ideal vision, guys.
That's one vision, and I'm glad it's going viral for you, Mo. Let me give you this one. It's kind of like yours. Jeff Hafley ends up leaving. You have to fill both your offensive coordinator, because I do think they're going to move on from Steno. I don't know that for certain, but I get that feeling. If Mike McDaniel and Raheem Morris don't get head coaching jobs, I think Matt LaFleur, there were fans that wanted to see him give up his play calling duties, and my response was, who the hell on this staff are you going to have call plays instead? That was my response, and I never really heard many answers on that. If those two guys don't get head coaching jobs, Matt LaFleur has relationships with both. Now, I also have said that he needs people with fresh ideas and people that are going to challenge him. But if you have those two former head coaches as your coordinators, this is purely theoretical.
Sure.
And Matt LaFleur says, I need to do a better job of managing games. And they look, I understand the special teams conundrum. I am not advocating for them to bring back Rich Bisaccia in any way. I do think, and I think it was Jim that pointed this out amid all the complaints in the YouTube comments, that Matt LaFleur in 2019 wanted to hire Darren Rizzi and was told they weren't spending the money that Darren Rizzi was commanding. And Darren Rizzi has now had some head coaching interviews. So maybe...
Well, so did Bisaccia, though, too.
Sure, but maybe
that doesn't mean jack.
It doesn't, but he's still considered... And again, so was Rich Bisaccia when they got the job here. I think there are going to be changes. I don't think it's going to be the way Thomas in Chicago depicted it of you're going to have to run the team the way we want you to if you want to keep your job, and he will be neutered.
If you're telling him you got to reshuffle staff, that's kind of what you're telling him.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm not sure. And Matt LaFleur does not have a great track record of being capable of firing people. He had trouble firing previous special teams coordinators. But I think that he, down deep inside, as much as he may hate that, I think he recognizes that there need to be changes. I think he does. And we'll see what happens.
Let me tell you this. If your answer to being grittier on offense is to bring in Mike McDaniel as the leader of that side of it, I'm going to be a hard pass on that. That's all I'm going to say.
Grittier?
Matt LaFleur is if Matt LaFleur, yeah, I think that's if you want to look at resiliency and grit, does this team have it this year? Did they have it?
Not enough. No.
Where did it come from? What did you say it was?
I think after they lost back-to-back games to the Eagles and to the Panthers, they answered the bell with 4 straight wins instead of it spiraling. That'd be one way.
That's good. And maybe Mike McDaniel's a whole different animal, but to me, if Matt LaFleur's going to be the head football coach, he needs to call plays. That's his specialty.
I don't want my offensive coordinator to be grit guy. I want my offensive coordinator to be smart guy and creative guy and innovative.
I want my offense to be tough and resilient too.
Sure.
And if
the
you're
people that are playing offense, Yeah, I want the people that are playing offense to be gritty and resilient. Yes.
Well, who sets the tone? Who's setting the tone?
I don't understand the question.
Who is setting the tone on offense?
Your offensive line.
Okay. But your offensive coordinator is a big part of what you're going to do with that offensive line. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I don't understand what you're not understanding. So the bottom line on this is, right now, what is the biggest question mark? If Matt LaFleur comes back as the coach, what do you think the biggest question mark fans and Ed Policy should be asking?
How are you going to win more games in the regular season so you're not the 7th seed and you win a division title and you have a different path to getting somewhere?
Every road team won except for the Chargers and us. That's what happened yesterday. You aren't going to find a bigger home field advantage advocate than me. I promise you that. It's about meeting the big moments is what I would say the answer to that is. Meeting the big moments, winning the big game. It's easy to go beat Arizona. It's easy to go, and you obviously could beat Cleveland this year, but my point, yes, you want to get home games, but you have to win those tough road games in the regular season to earn the right to play at home. And we're 3 years in where we haven't, but let's not make that as the big reason. This is, it's easier to be the 1 seed and to go on, no doubt. But I don't think that's the big question mark about Matt. He's been the 1 seed twice.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't won in the playoffs.
Nobody's talking about those 2 years, though. I mean, nobody is.
It's part of his resume.
Right, but nobody's talking about that right now. They're talking about the fact that the last 3 years they have been the 7th seed, and they wouldn't have even made the playoffs if they hadn't expanded the playoffs, and that he stinks without Rodgers, right? I mean, that's what people are saying now.
Okay.
Right? Is that not true?
I think they're saying, can he meet a big moment? I think he's done with Jordan Love. They've made the playoffs. Yes, it's a 7 seed. They also had one of the great wins, the only wins, I believe, as a 7 seed. So I don't think it's messed with that. It's like, why do we keep having that? Why do we feel the way Mo and myself, and I think almost every Packer fan felt after that second 3 and out of, oh boy. That's where I think we're like, how do we get out of that? How do we stop that from happening? And that's, the head football coach, players got to go make plays. We all understand that. But why aren't we? What's the reason? And how do we change it? And is this the guy to do it? Those are the questions I think fans have today. That's what I have.
Do you think this is the guy to do it?
History would tell me it's not.
That's not what I asked.
Well, I answered a question the way I wanted to answer it.
We'll get to the 10 o'clock hour. The Packers locker room is going to be open for locker room clean out. 844-770-3776 is the Carbless talk and text line. That is one call you can make. The other call you can make is the Gruber Law Offices if you've been injured. That number is 414-276-6666. 414-276-6666. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. You can find out more about the firm, about all the great things David and his team do in our communities, all the great lawyers that are there, and how they win at gruber-law.com. The 10 o'clock hour starts in 2 minutes. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Did you forget the first day of school is this week and little Nancy still needs her name embroidered on her backpack? Or the company shirts are due now, not next week? Maybe the boss just declared Steve's retirement party is today and the shirts are mandatory? Whatever the rush. Big Frog Custom T-shirts and more in Mequon has got you covered with fast turnarounds, no minimums, eco-friendly printing, and high-quality custom apparel. Big Frog brings your custom ideas to life fast. Stop by Big Frog in Mequon or visit bigfrog.com/Mequon. Big Frog Custom T-shirts and more, where your ideas leap to life.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
According to Time Magazine, Gen Z is drinking 20% less alcohol than all previous generations. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Over our 65 years in business, we've stayed up on all the trends, where you'll always find 2,000 varieties of beer, 4,000 types of liquor, and over 8,000 wines. We now also stock over 100 varieties and growing of THCA, CBD, and Delta-9 non-alcoholic specialty-infused drinks. So whether you're experimenting with the latest wellness trend, or you just want something in your fridge that your college kid can call you cool for, come check out our expansive selection. And while you're at it, you do deserve that bottle of bourbon. Discount Liquor in Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma and in downtown Waukesha on Barstow and Maine.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
And visit us online at discountliquorinc.com.
Homer here for Window Nation. Winters can be brutal here in Milwaukee, and if you're cold in your home, even with the heat on, your old windows are a problem. Window Nation can help. Right now, during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 Windows Free sale, you can get them with 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. It's easy to get the right windows to fit your home and budget. The pros at Window Nation will guide you every step of the way. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Right now, schedule a consult at windownation.com. Hey, this is Homer. You're listening to the home of Marquette basketball. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Ten o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch. ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN Wisconsin app, live videos streaming. The ESPN Madison and ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channels, as well as the Wilde and Tausch Twitter feed and Facebook page. Jason Wilde attending end-of-season media availability for the players in the locker room at Lambeau Field right now. So while he gets the information from the players, we take your reactions. I'm Jesse, by the way. I produce the show. I'm filling in as the host. I'm like the Malik Willis of the show right now, stepping in for Jason while he steps away for a little bit. So Tausch is still here. Plenty to talk about. Packers lose 31-27 to the Chicago Bears on Saturday night. Time to get to your calls. Let's start with FedEx Mitch in Oshkosh. My mom worked for FedEx for a long time, so I always have a soft spot. FedEx Mitch in Oshkosh. You're on Wilde and Tausch reacting to the Packers' 31-27 loss Saturday night to the Bears. What you got?
Morning, guys. I was going to have a point about the whole, keeping the roster young and keeping the guys under 30, but Jason stole my thunder, so I'm going to pivot to a different point. And this is more of a question for Tausch. It seems like that after halftime, Chicago made adjustments, and I don't know, obviously we were reeling and what we were doing was working, but it seemed like after Chicago made adjustments, we had no answer to those adjustments. So I guess my question for Tausch is, I know halftime is pretty short, but when it's a game where, you have a really good first half and everything seems to be working, is there any meetings about, anticipating adjustments that there might be, or is it more so maybe just do some minor tweaks yourselves and just keep doing what's working and then adjust later if they see something completely different?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Mitch. Halftime adjustments is one of the most overrated things that fans think everything goes in there and you got like a mad scientist. Really what you end up doing is there might be one or two formations and maybe something that the Bears in this case are doing that maybe you didn't realize, and there's an adjustment off of that, whether it's a blocking scheme or maybe a route combination that you might switch because they're doing something a little bit different. But for the most part, especially when you're humming, you're not interested in all of this other stuff. With the little iPads on the sideline, all of that stuff now, that's why you see those guys sitting there going through it. That's where most of your adjustments are, and they're always pretty small because the big picture stuff is practiced during the week. So it was more of a mentality. I think the fact that the Bears did not for a minute doubt that they could come back is the powerful part of this. And the fact that the Packers, I think, started reeling when they couldn't move the football. And then all of a sudden the defense started tightening up a little bit and saying, we don't want to give up a big play. And next thing you know, you're in for a ball game, and it's a one-score game. And once that happens, everything tightens up in that, and especially in playoff football. And we didn't have any solutions to any of the problems that happened. And that was more, I thought, mental than anything physically that the Chicago Bears were doing.
One more question before we get to our next call. How big was the missed field goal going into halftime, do you think, that led to the mentality there in the second half?
I definitely think it hurt. Anytime you don't score and you give up, especially the cavalier way that the Bears were playing football, they showed their desperation. And Green Bay, while we were able to score and do some things, obviously not getting those 3 points, it's much better to be up 21 than to be up 18. It changes a little bit of it, but that if you're that fragile that bothers you, and you got bigger fish to fry.
844-770-3776, the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. List is more. Full phone lines continuing as we react to the Packers' 31-27 loss to the Bears. Jason attending player availability in the locker room right now in Lambeau Field for the end of the season availability. He'll return to the show in a little bit. Let's bring in Jamon in Dallas, one of our great callers all season long. Jamon, you're on Wilde and Tausch. How you doing?
Not doing too good after that loss. A lot of people down on Matt LaFleur, and it's kind of shocking. I mean, I agree with Tausch. You do need a dog. You need somebody who's going to rally the guys up and kind of just, get the guys going, and kind of don't see that in Matt. But Matt is a smart coach, and he's been doing things all year that just shows why he should be here. Saturday's game, the guy drew up the play. Jordan Love drops the dime to Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed drops the ball. But, hey, let's fire Matt LaFleur. The defense, a lot of people haven't been talking about Jeff Hafley and how he's been playing these last few games. You lose Michael Parsons, and all of a sudden the defense is crumbling again. But we still, hey, let's fire Matt LaFleur.
Brandon McManus, he trots out there, missed 3 field goals, who I think if he makes those, we win. Hey, let's fire Matt LaFleur. A lot of things are getting pointed Matt way, and I'm not understanding. I feel like the players have to start holding themselves accountable, and maybe it's time to start looking at who's Goody bringing in. Banks was a terrible time. Hobbs, I don't know what Hobbs is doing right now. So, I mean, a lot of blame is falling on Matt, and I'm really not understanding why. I mean, he had a few questionable calls, we understand, but he put the team in a position to win, and guys on the field are not finishing. So it's time for us to start evaluating the guys instead of the coaches. Are the guys on the field as good as we think? Is Josh Jacobs the running back who we think he is? Is our line as good as we think he is? Is there anybody on the defensive side that we should actually be saying that we want back next year? So, and this is not, to me, has nothing to do with Matt. Actually, I look at Goody. You know, we're talking about guys who need contracts. Goody is coming up, and eventually policy's going to have to figure out what he wants to do with him. Maybe that's why he wants to keep Matt. Maybe he feels Matt is a good coach, and it's just the players that Goody's bringing in who are not executing.
Yep, Jamon, appreciate it. Hey, we got a lot of calls to get to.
You're doing.
Appreciate it.
Green Bay, let's go.
Appreciate it, Jamon. We always appreciate you tuning in here on, especially chiming in on Mondays after games all throughout the season.
The reason that Matt LaFleur is the head football coach. So, yeah, Jamon's points on Goody are fair. His free agent signings didn't work this year. He thought he was going to get the O-line with moving Elton Jenkins. That was a bust. That didn't work. So that's on Goody. It's also, the coaches have to figure out. They tried putting Jordan Morgan in at guard, continue to do it. They didn't get Belton in there earlier. There's a myriad of things. Do we think Belton's a good player? We do. Do I think Jordan Morgan's going to end up being a pretty good tackle? I do. And there was some wasted development time that was not there throughout this regular season. That's coaching. That ain't on GM, FYI. Okay? And that's figuring out where your guy's talent is. So it's a mixed bag. No doubt you can look at both sides of it. But as far as why Matt LaFleur's taking the heat, he's the head football coach. And when your teams fall short, you're hiring coaches, you're putting the players out there, and if the players aren't doing it, you got to get somebody else out there. Should Matthew Golden have gotten more reps? Certainly looked like it on now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's not at practice. I'm not at practice. I'm not doing that. But if Bo Melton wasn't hurt, I don't think Matthew Golden even plays. So there's a lot of things. You could say personnel. You could say putting guys in the right spots to play and to win. And all of it needs to be looked at.
And we're going to have all offseason to do it. I think that's what's amazing. We have full phone lines still right now reacting to a game that took place more than 36 hours ago. There are conversations to be had about the head coach, the quarterback, the general manager, the running back, the offensive line, the coordinators. All kinds of things need to be examined. Even the team president, who is new in his role. There's all kinds of conversations to be had for this show and for all of our shows here on ESPN Wisconsin in the coming weeks and throughout this offseason. We're going to keep those conversations going with you coming up next. This guy coming up next on the other side. Done? I heard him say he's done with the Green Bay Packers on Saturday night on Green Bay game night. Is that what I heard him say? We will talk about it. He's one of the Packers super fans, but the Packers may have lost him. That's coming up. Tausch, tell us about Annex Wealth Management before we get to our next break.
Well, Jesse, a lot of people make New Year's resolutions. Some of them crash and burn, lack of discipline, bad advice. You'd see TikTok or InstaReel or whatever those things are. And when you're looking for finding out ways, there's so much stuff going on financially in the markets right now. I'm going to tell you something. I have a great idea, and I'd love for you to join us on January 15th. Once I'm done with the show, I am co-hosting a webinar with Annex Wealth Management.
What?
Annex didn't give me a script. Yes, they didn't give me a script. Luckily, we have somebody really smart that knows the market, Brian Jacobson. He's regularly on national TV, CNBC, Fox Business, Bloomberg. He knows what's going on. I am going to ask all of the questions I have. What do you do with your 401k early in the year? What's going on with silver, gold? All of this stuff. Why are things going the way? Bitcoin. All of these questions that people have, well, I'm going to be asking, and you can join us. Head over and register. It's for free. Events.annexwealth.com. ESPNWisconsin.com. Again, that's January 15th, right after the show. We're going to be talking all of the things about the markets. Jesse, you're earning some good cash. Jump in here. You'll be able to ask questions. Again, Brian Jacobson, one of the smartest, best people in the finance game, along with myself. Again, events.annexwealth.com.
I can't believe all the digital content you create, all these digi-onlys. You're hosting a webinar on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm excited because I got questions. There is a lot of stuff going on in this world, and I will be asking them. And I was told I can interrupt as much as I want, which I'm sure Brian Jacobson's going to be super excited about on Thursday.
This webinar is going to go for 14 and a half hours after.
That might be a bad idea on
an hour. It's only going to be an hour. But, Jesse, throw that up on our I want to see some Wilde and Tausch fans joining in and you can give me a bunch of grief. I'm open to it. And I think I'm actually even going to be part of a chat as it's going, which I can't figure out on our YouTube page.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll figure out on X.
Thursday after Wilde and Tausch. Can't wait. I'm sure we'll talk plenty more about that as the week continues. We'll take many more calls coming up next. 844-770-3776. Carbless, ESPN Wisconsin talking text line. Liss is more, reacting to the Packers' loss to the Bears in the playoffs. That continues next. It's Jesse and Tausch on Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Here's a dose of reality. Driving under the influence of prescription painkillers is just as illegal and just as deadly as driving drunk. In fact, there are nearly 2,000 drug-related crashes every year in Wisconsin. Help prevent drug to driving, and let's achieve 0 preventable deaths on Wisconsin roadways. Driving on pills kills. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Departments of Health Services, Transportation, and Justice.
4 years. That's enough time to earn a college degree, to serve a full term as a president, to train for something big and become someone new.
You bet, and get 0% interest for 4 years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, so you can invest in your home and in life's biggest moments. With exclusive features and customizations, Pella offers the highest quality products at a price you can afford.
Aim high when setting your New Year's resolution and imagine what you can do in 4 years when you finance your home project with Pella. Visit PellaWI.com today.
$2.3 million. A recent Schwab survey of Americans says that it takes $2.3 million to be wealthy. Well, you may have had your financial plan set on a bigger or a more humble number. But if you're looking for added insights on how to get there or how to avoid some tax pitfalls on the way, Annex Wealth Management is ready to listen. Mark Tauscher here, and whether your situation is complex or simple, the Annex Wealth Management team can give you wealth expertise and guidance on reaching your goals. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Game Night Show for Events by Design. Events like appreciation parties and retreats can go a long way towards boosting morale and retaining top talent. Events by Design is your go-to creative partner for employee events that truly make an impact. They help leaders retain top talent by making their people feel seen, valued, and celebrated. The creative team at Events by Design does all the planning and production, making sure things not only look great, but also work. Make a smart investment in your culture today. Search online, Events by Design. They design, you party.
Is it time to buy an engagement ring?
Or a big anniversary diamond?
Kessler's has diamonds that come from diamond mines.
And we also have diamonds that come from plasma chambers.
When you see the size of the diamond you can afford when you look at our high-tech newborn created diamonds,
you're going to be happy, happy, happy.
And with approved credit, our financing plans make anything possible.
Our selection of engagement rings is beyond compare.
And our custom design department can modify any ring in any way you choose.
Anyone who says they can give you a better ring
or a better diamond
or a better price
has never been to Kessler's.
And our miraculous no small print warranty says,
if you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed.
It's just that simple.
And all maintenance is free forever.
No charge.
Yes, it really is that miraculous.
You found a partner you want to share your life with.
When you're ready to celebrate,
we've got a diamond for that.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
The shot clock's winding down, and Saturn Lounge scores at the buzzer. When your marketing needs a slam dunk, our team drives the lane with creative strategy, branding, websites, video storytelling, and marketing campaigns that win. We run the full court press in every engagement, pushing the pace, finding that open shot, and delivering the highlight reel results. Our Saturn Lounge team ensures that your marketing content and campaigns dominate like a champion. Don't settle for a turnover or a missed shot or a wasted possession. Let Saturn Lounge run your marketing game plan now. To tell the world your story, visit SaturnLounge.com today.
When storms hit or accidents happen, it's not just about property, it's about people. I'm Mandy Grimal-Lococo with Grimal and Associates Insurance. We help families bundle home, auto, and life coverage so you're never facing life's what-ifs alone. With the heavy rains we've seen in Milwaukee, we'll review your policy to be sure water backup, sump pump failures, and flood risks don't drain your wallet. Your home is more than walls and a roof, it's where life happens. At Grimal and Associates Insurance in Shorewood, we're here to protect your home, your family, and your peace of mind. Call us today at 414-332-0838.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
So I'd like to personally thank the Green Bay Packers for scheduling locker room end-of-season media availability at 10:10 this morning. That's where Jason is right now, catching up with the players, so that it gives me the opportunity to fill in hosting this show, along with Tausch, making me your unofficial cousin sub of the day. I guess I'm Jesse Nelson. Hunter Vaughn is actually our cousin sub of the day, stepping in, producing the show while we continue on here while Jason steps away. And a reminder, Cousin Sub's $10 meal deal gives you a 7.5-inch sub, a bag of chips or regular fries, a fountain drink, and a cookie, all for just $10. The deal is available online or through the Cousins app only. Cousins Subs, we believe in better. No trivia today, presented by Cousins Subs and Iron Jock. All phone calls reacting to the Packers' 31-27 loss in the wild card round of the playoffs to the Chicago Bears on Saturday night at Soldier Field. On Saturday night, I was tuning into Green Bay game night after the game, wallowing in the loss, and I heard this guy say the Packers have lost him. I wonder if his emotions have changed since. We go north of the border. He's usually Mr. Positivity. Ricardo in Canada. You're on Wilde and Tausch with Jesse and Tausch. How you feeling today, my friend?
Morning, guys. Definitely slept on it. Watched that episode of Landman like I told Mark I was going to. I haven't changed. In a sense, I still love my Packers. I'm a Packer backer until I'm 6 feet under. But, LaFleur, I don't know. I don't think he's the guy. I think it's run its course. It's not losing a game. It's how you're losing the games. And it's not the first time. And it's only been 7 years. But, it's enough is enough. Failure to launch. You are who you are. And it's not going to change. And like Tauscher said, there's been so many personnel decisions that have just been so far off. Matthew Golden only playing because Bo Melton's hurt. Jordan Morgan looks fantastic as a tackle. He's been really, really good. You're telling me he couldn't have been, covering for Rasheed Walker when he's been playing horribly almost all year with these costly penalties? And then, I get the defense. The defense gave up 25 points in the fourth quarter, and that's inexcusable. But the defense was undermanned, and they held it together the whole time. They held it together until eventually they just ran out. Our offense, we're supposed to be spearheading this team. You can't go into neutral. That's just not the case. It cannot happen. You need to make changes on the fly. Max protect, short routes, do something. It just looked like it just kept going against the wall, beating your head against the wall. Enough is enough. And personally, if we keep him back, if we re-sign him, and that's what it looks like it's going to happen, I'll support it. But changes need to be made. He needs fresh ideas. He needs someone to go against him. He needs someone to challenge him. It can't just be status quo anymore. Personally, I would go with the CEO route. Harbaugh's out there. I'd say we go with him and then hire these up-and-coming OCs, someone like a Mike McDaniel. Hey, you want to be a head coach again? Run the offense for 3-4 years. Get us up there. And then, you can probably get another crack at it. Defensive coordinator, stuff like that. It can't continue like this. We've seen the song and dance. And I don't care about 7th seed. First, second, third, I don't care. Get to the playoffs. That's all I care about. Get in the playoffs. Because you guys just saw right now, home teams. The home teams lost just as much as the road team. It doesn't matter. Get to the dance. Problem is, when we get there, you show up with no pants. It happens every year. That's it.
Yeah, big sigh. I hear you, Ricardo. Thanks for the call. Appreciate all the calls all season long.
Yeah, I thought Ricardo would have kind of turned around. That was his dejected, and we all know Ricardo is awesome. He brings that. You could just feel the smile when Ricardo starts talking. And he was, beaten into the dirt like all of us were Saturday night. And he still feels a certain way. This is a huge off season, like all of them, but this feels different to me. There's like an inflection point here, because I do think a lot of fans, and Ricardo's one of them, starting to kind of feel like this is who we are. We're a 7th seed. We're a playoff team that isn't going to threaten winning anything big. That's where we're at right now. And I think is that fair? Probably not. But if you look at the last 4 seasons, which is 4 seasons is eternity in the NFL. We haven't sniffed it. That's not good enough. Especially the last 2. Obviously, Jordan's first year was a free year, a free roll, if you will. These last couple seasons, Jason's point about listen, man, I want the regular season. I am chasing that 1 seed as hard as I can, and if I'm not, I want to have the 2. You better start. Like, all of the conversation, when Matt LaFleur gets his contract extension, this conversation better be, we're winning the blanking division next year. You can't host a game if you don't win your division. That needs to be top. We have taken that as a birthright. And we haven't won the division. When's the last time we won the division? Is it 21?
Yeah, the year they were.
Is that the last year?
The year they hosted San Francisco in the divisional round.
So it's been 5 years since we've hosted a playoff game and won a division. We're acting like we're kings of the North. Guys, those days are gone. We're not now. Everybody else has won a division but us. You want to start setting a tone. We're not above. We, I think, rightfully so, have owned the Chicago Bears. And even though all of the conversation, well, we're better than them, we should have beat this, we didn't. We didn't. And if we're going to start having some postseason success, we better start taking care of our own backyard. Because right now, these other teams are blanking in it, and we're sitting there scooping it up. Like right now, we're going to pick up. The snow has ended, and I'm not a dog owner, but you're going out there. You're right now picking up all the blank in your backyard, and you're saying, I don't want to do this anymore. And if you want to start making some hay in the postseason, start winning your blanking division, because we haven't and everybody else has.
844-770-3776. That's the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. Less is more. Brandon, Dave, Andy, you're coming up next. Jason continues down at Lambeau Field in the locker room for the end-of-season player media availability. He will return once that concludes. In the meantime, we continue to take your calls reacting to the Packers' loss to the Bears in the wild card round of the playoffs on Saturday night in disastrous fashion. Coming up next.
Start getting to some calls. Hey, you start moving some calls here.
Brandon, Dave, Andy, coming up next. Don't go anywhere. It's Wilde and Tausch.
All right.
Wilde and Tausch continues next on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Mark Tauscher here, and these days I am sleeping better than ever. I am so thankful I met with the great team at Advent to help solve my sleeping problems. The Advent team is so great to work with, and their consultations are very informative. The Advent team listened to my struggles, and rather than forcing a surgery, they helped me find the best solution for a better night's sleep. My family and I are so thankful the solutions from Advent worked. To see how they can help you with snoring, sleep apnea, and nasal breathing problems, go to adventknows.com, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
What's better than cheering for the Packers with an ice-cold beer in your hand? Cheering for the Packers with an ice-cold beer in your hand that you got for 10% off. And when you get Packers checking from Associated Bank, you get even more. Like 10% off food and 10% off drinks on game day. Like that ice-cold beer in your hand. Plus 15% off Pro Shop gear. Only with Packers checking. Associated Bank. Bank of the Packers. Learn more at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Member FDIC.
Mark Tosher here for Iron Jock. Well, it's a new year, and that means new goals. Iron Jock is here to help you stay committed to those goals, whether you're hitting the gym, heading to work, or just trying to smell a whole lot better in 2026. Formulated to fight sweat, odor, and bacteria, Iron Jock keeps you feeling fresh no matter how hard you push. But right now, you can get 30% off all Iron Jock gear on orders over $75. Just use promo code ESPN30. That's ESPN30 for 30% off your order over $75. Shop now at ironjock.com.
With your Saganiac Planning Marquette recap, I'm Will Summers. The Golden Eagles came up just short against Villanova on Saturday afternoon, falling 76-73. The game came down to the last possession as Chase Ross missed a deep three to potentially send the game into overtime. Here's head coach Shaka Smart after the game.
You know, the way that our guys fought down the stretch, it feels good to see them out there, fighting for each other like that. And we just, we needed one more.
The Golden Eagles will look to bounce back as they'll head out east to take on St. John's on Tuesday.
Your business is unique, and your health plan should be too. At United Healthcare, our group health plans are built for you and your employees. Whether you're running a small startup or managing a large enterprise, we offer solutions designed to fit your needs, your goals, and your budget. Explore your options today at uhc.com/Wisconsin. Insurance coverage provided by or through United Healthcare Insurance Company or its affiliates. Administrative services provided by United Healthcare Services, Inc. or their affiliates. Health plan coverage provided by or through United Healthcare of Wisconsin, Inc.
Whoa, hey, what are these?
Dude, Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks. They are available in cheesy garlic or pepperoni. They're seriously not messing around. These bad boys bake right in their own tray and come fully loaded.
Okay, these are insane. Hey, is this dinner?
Nope, just the warm-up. Find Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks in your local grocer's freezer section. Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks. Fully loaded, bring the flavor.
No look behind the back to Kone, who rises up, throws it down.
Siku Kone and the Milwaukee Panthers men's basketball team take on Oakland this Thursday. Tip-off is at 6 p.m. at Panther Arena. From clutch three-pointers to rim-rattling dunks to game-changing blocks, you'll experience all the action. Ticket prices start at just $23. Help tilt the floor this Thursday at 6. Visit mkepanthers.com for tickets. Panther Athletics for the MKE.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Sponsored by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Jason Wilde at player end-of-season media availability at Lambeau Field in the locker room. So while he steps away, it's Jesse and Tausch on Wilde and Tausch, 844-770-3776, the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. We'll get to a couple of calls in just a moment. It is a big day. I know a lot of people joining us on YouTube, maybe on the ESPN Wisconsin app, who don't normally tune in. We're seeing incredible numbers for everyone tuning in today. If you are new to this and you're enjoying it, number one, great, because it's usually even better than this, because I'm not the normal host of the show. Jason is. So it's usually even better than what we're doing right now. Number two, subscribe to the ESPN Madison and ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channels so that you get notified every time we go live. Reaction continues all day long. Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strofe at 12:30. Kyle Bruston Nortman 2 to 5. Jim, Matt, and Molly in Madison from 4 to 6. The Homer Hour from 5 to 6. Barry Alvarez show tonight. A lot of great stuff here on ESPN Wisconsin. So subscribe to the ESPN Madison, ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channels so that you get notified every time we go live. We'd love to continue to have you join us throughout the offseason as it continues. Packers lose 31-27 to the Chicago Bears Saturday night at Soldier Field. The reaction continues. Brandon in Tulsa, one of our great callers all season long. Brandon in Tulsa, you're up next on Wilde and Tausch with Jesse and Tausch. What you got?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, I'll keep it short. Jesse, you asked if Matt has taken the Packers as far as he can. I think he has, and I think, Matt's a nice guy, a player's coach, and that's why his players like him. but I also think it's why he allows and excuses all the bad habits from his coaches and players that seemingly show up in Week 17 every year, and why we see some of the meltdowns that we do. It's why Gary can jog all over the field, and why Satya keeps his job, and why the team keeps looking sloppy and unprepared at the end of the year. You get what you tolerate, and all the ugly things we see, I think, is what Matt has allowed to fester. And, Tausch, you nailed it. Robert Saleh said he can drown Matt and this team in deep water. Ben Johnson has attacked Matt from day one. Like, these coaches see what other coaches and players see. The Packers under LaFleur are bullied, easily bullied, and if you keep going after them, they will tuck the tail over the head. And I don't see how you change that culture while Matt, the culture creator, is still here. What I do know is the Packers are in deep water, and it feels like the sharks are coming. It reminds me of the Ford versus Ferrari movie when the Ferrari guy says, "You're not Henry Ford, you're Henry Ford II." The NFL is telling Green Bay, "You're not the Rodgers-McCarthy Packers, you're the Love LaFleur Packers." And if Matt is still here, I don't see how he changes as a man, just 180 about face. I don't. So I think we're in trouble.
Thanks for the call, Brandon. Tausch?
We are going to organize that Oklahoma. I need to get some itinerary issues, so I'll talk to Brandon off air. I said, I think the overarching question about what is going on right now is what's going to change? How are you have 7 years of data as far as what Matt LaFleur does and what he brings to the table, and there is a ton of positive things that he does, a lot. And I think he's gotten better at certain things. But the bottom line is this team has not risen up to the biggest moments under Matt LaFleur. They just have not. How is that going to change? And I'm not giving the players a pass either, by the way. That is not – I'm not trying to act like this is all Matt LaFleur, but you're the head football coach. You're responsible for how your team plays and putting the players in those positions to give yourself a chance to be successful. And in every moment that has been big, we haven't been up to the task. We haven't answered the bell. I don't know what the rationale. I don't know why that is. I don't have all of the answers, but I know there's a certain thing that's lacking. When you get punched in the mouth or when bad things happen, how quickly can you bounce back? And unfortunately, in these big moments, we haven't bounced back as much as we need to in order to go chase the championships that everybody is chasing.
You ever see Ford versus Ferrari? It's a pretty good movie.
I haven't. No, I haven't yet.
Your guy Christian Bale's
I'm still waiting.
He's got chops.
I've heard. I'm not. I haven't. I gotta go on a trip somewhere. I've been working too hard. I maybe will, and then I'll get Landman knocked out. Once that happens, maybe I can go Ford versus Ferrari.
Okay.
It's a good plane movie.
Yeah, it is. 844-770-3776.
I can't take anything Hunter says.
Oh, God. No, we don't.
I'm not going to get into that today. We could do that later.
I think you just have bad taste.
Superman.
Maybe I do.
We'll keep the calls going. Dave in Atlanta. You're next on Wilde and Tausch, Jesse and Tausch. Jason, at end-of-season media availability for the players in the Packers locker room right now. So you got us as we react to the Packers' loss on Saturday night to the Bears. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Feeling pretty depressed as everybody is. Just to address Tausch specifically. Tausch, you are the reason why I listen to the show. And why many, many people listen to the show. We got to put up with Jesse wanting to mention his name on the air every 5 seconds.
Oh, he loves that.
We got to put up with Jason. We got to put up with Jason starting every sentence with "again." We got to put up with Jason saying, "I'm curious." Once you get through those thousands of things, ultimately it's Tausch. But Tausch, I completely agree with you as to the emotion that you feel, the abstract that you want to blame the coach just for the last 7 years. But the fact is, please don't ignore the fact that, and you don't, but don't ignore the fact that you said the defense was terrible in the second half. Fire Jeff Hafley. What did he do? What has he done the last 4 games we've lost? Fire him. No, wait. Actually, it's individual players who weren't doing their job. You got Rick Versace, of course, is a little different. What he actually did was try something different and be a little more bold and throw Josh Jacobs back there, who happened to have a great return. He also happened to fumble, which he does. Again, players. Romeo Doubs has made some sensational catches along the year, right? But when it comes crunch time, he drops the onside kick, which costs us the division, which you were claiming if we won, we wouldn't be here, right? We can go on and on about individual players. But coaches too. It's the whole thing. You got to break things down and not just say it's the culture that Matt. It's individual people at individual times not coming through. Andy Reid got fired in Philadelphia, right? There are other great coaches who, well, wait a minute, we didn't go far enough. We got to fire the coach. But it turns out they're a pretty good coach. But we still have, from Bostic messing up the onside kick years ago in Seattle. There's been a history of individual players who have screwed up at key times, which actually end up costing you a game. Your boy, Brandon McManus, who we paid a lot of money for, was sensational. He misses a field goal and an extra point when it comes down to it. Fire Matt LaFleur. My boy Jamon called earlier really put it the same way I would put it, which is you got to get better players to perform at better times, and it's the system. But you don't necessarily blame every single thing on the coach and having to do with the culture. Yes, no matter what argument we put in front of you, Coach Tausch, you can say the coach has to have it's Harry Truman butt passes here. Okay, I get it. But let's be real about this. There were mistakes along the way made by players, individual players, who you counted on, who you drafted, who you developed, and they screwed up. The players screwed up. And so if you want to start firing people, yes, fire the offensive coordinator who had no answers and didn't do anything. Fire Hafley because the defense just disappeared. Don't blame them on the injuries. Fire certainly Bisaccia, right? But at least he's trying. These are guys who get along with their players, but they don't necessarily get the best out of their players, and the players screwed up. So go ahead, fire everybody.
Yep.
But
Dave, here's the deal, though. You could all of those points that you're bringing up. Who is responsible for hiring those coaches and for setting the tone for that culture? I'm not going to disagree. Players need to come and go. You also have to put players in the right spots and let them develop. And I think this year is a great example of not doing that and you could say that's Goody I don't know if Goody is forcing guys, you need to play this. I don't think that's how this works. But Jordan Morgan, the guard experiment, we all knew he's told you from the jump he wants to play tackle. He's invested there. We shoved that down. We moved Elton Jenkins. There are other things. You didn't play Matthew. You didn't let him grow. So there's both sides of this. I get that. But the bottom line is you're the head football coach because you make those decisions, and you're ultimately responsible for how they play. The players are too, and they get fired. They get cut. You're not performing. McManus is going to either get cut or have heavy competition all offseason because he didn't perform. That's not on Matt LaFleur. I agree. But the bottom line is it comes back to you as the head football coach because that's what your job is.
844-770-3776. I don't think he was very nice at the start of it. Yeah, he was nice to you. He was kind of mean to Jason and I.
I totally understand that there's all these moving parts with being a football team, and everything has to go, and everybody needs to be in unison, and you have to be working towards. And there's going to be mistakes made. There's too many people. There's too many variables. But there were a lot of mistakes this year as far as when you tried to make big moves, how that worked out, and did you stick too long with certain things? You can answer those questions, yes. And did that cost you a division championship? And then do you win the game if you have the crowd behind you and not in Chicago on Saturday? We don't know. We don't know, but I certainly tell you this. I'd feel better about it.
No doubt about it. 844-770-3776. One more quick one. Andy in Grafton. You're on Wilde and Tausch. Jesse and Tausch while Jason's at end-of-season player media availability at Lambeau Field. What you got?
Well, I've been listening all morning, and I haven't heard someone say this to me. So if Matt LaFleur was actually under contract for more than a year and wouldn't be a lame duck, which I believe is an Ed policy absolute failure for him to come out before the season even started and say what he said to even make this a conversation, how could you look at this season and say we're going to reward Matt LaFleur with an extension? So all these people that are saying, oh, we shouldn't blame this season or the game on Saturday night on Matt LaFleur, I could agree with you to a certain extent. I would never agree with anybody that says after what we saw this season, Matt LaFleur should be rewarded with an extension, because there's no way Ed policy could be looking at this football team and say, I'm okay with this happening for the possible next 3 to 4 years. There's absolutely no way. So if Ed policy is going to come out and say, I don't want a lame duck coach, then he's going to have to somehow convince the fan base and the organization that he's okay with what's happening for the last 7 seasons. Because so this conversation of have the Packers gone as far as they can with Matt LaFleur? Well, what's to lead anybody to believe that we could get further than what we already have? We had back-to-back MVP seasons from a quarterback, and that's as far as we've gotten.
Well,
and even those seasons were failures.
So, Andy, I would say that what leads me to believe that I think the Packers still can get further with Matt LaFleur is the fact that Tucker Kraft and Micah Parsons were out. And no doubt, third quarter of that Broncos game kicks off. Packers are up by 9 points on the road against the projected 1 seed in the AFC. And you're feeling like this team is riding high, one of the best in the NFL. They're clicking on all the right cylinders. And suddenly Micah Parsons goes down. Tucker Kraft went out a week or two before that. And that is just where this thing totally derailed. They didn't win a game the rest of the way from the time that Micah Parsons went out.
Even with those injuries, though, you had 2 of the most embarrassing losses in Green Bay Packer history against the Chicago Bears. You were in position to beat them both times, and you had catastrophic losses. So I don't want to hear injuries because you put yourself in a position to win both of those games. You didn't get beat by basically a single football team this year except Baltimore Ravens. Every other loss, you gave it away. And that's not injuries. You outplayed almost every single team that you played this year, and you lost. You're the first team in NFL history to lose 3 games in which you didn't punt. So I don't want to hear injuries. You had the better football team in almost every single game, and you lost. That's coaching. And like I said, for Ed policy to then say, I'm going to reward this head coach because I like the direction of this franchise.
Looks like we're losing Andy and Grafton there. But Tausch, I think he makes a great point. Great back and forth there on what he thinks should be happening with the Green Bay Packers moving forward. What do you think when you hear what Andy says there about the culture that's been established?
I've asked the same question. Yeah. I've asked the same question. This year was not good, and you had adversity. I totally agree with Andy on the injury front. Like, you go into Seattle this next weekend, had we won, which I'm not going to say we should have, could have, would have, because I said that Saturday, and I'm taking the heat, and I deserve it. We go up and get beaten in a tight game against Seattle on the road, we'd all be like, I can understand it. I didn't love it when we had that conversation last week, but I understood it. This was not that game. Andy is 100% right. We were the better team. We had everything lined up to do it, and we didn't execute. And execution is on players, but it's also on coaches. And I don't think anybody's going to sit here and say, well, we didn't have enough horses. We didn't have this. Guys didn't perform. And there's going to be guys that aren't going to be on this team that were key contributors this year. There's going to be new blood. I can assure you the offensive line is going to get a whole look at what's going to be done next year. It wasn't good enough this year. That's also on Goody. It is. But it's also not adjusting and doing things a little bit early. Belton comes in and all of you see it. Jordan Morgan should have been playing tackle. We saw that. We knew that. Moving Elton Jenkins was not the right move, it turned out. signing Aaron Banks. There's all of these things that, Andy just mentioned. And the question I have is, what is it about this season that makes Ed Policy feel so dead set that he wants? I don't know if this is a done deal yet. We heard reports. I don't know what the value is going to be. Matt LaFleur is going to want to be one of the highest paid coaches. We have first-round picks that we gave away. Everybody's telling me that they want Matt LaFleur as the coach. Is it possible that this is going to be a stalemate and Green Bay maybe isn't going to offer what they know they need to get Matt LaFleur, and this is a way to recoup some of those draft picks? Until this deal is done, don't think that everything isn't on the table. But this is not the season. If I'm Matt LaFleur, I'm not going in there saying I should be getting paid top dollar in the league, because this was not one of those seasons where you could really stamp and say, boy, I coached the hell out of this ball squad this year. You lost more games that you should have won, and the only game that you got throttled was Baltimore. I couldn't agree with Andy on a lot of those points. He brought up some very good points.
He did, and that's what makes this predicament that the Packers are in now going into this offseason so interesting and so controversial, and with so many different varying opinions on what the team should do moving forward. We're going to continue to hear more of those opinions coming up. Dave, Jason, John, you're coming up next on the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin Talk and Text line. But first, Tausch, without taking any calls, because we have full phone lines today, you get to tell everybody about the great stuff that Iron Jock has to offer.
Well, new year, new goals, and Iron Jock is here to help you stick to it. And whether you're hitting the gym, head to work, or just trying to smell better in 2026, Iron Jock, well, they have the gear to have you covered. And right now, our listeners can take 30% off all Iron Jock gear orders of over $75. All you got to do is use the promo code ESPN30 at checkout. Again, that is promo code ESPN30. Look good, smell great, and start the year strong with Iron Jock. Boy, I'd love to give some stuff away. We're not doing that today. We'll do that later. But again, head over to ironjock.com to get started on ordering some stuff up. 30% off all ESPN listeners.
Still waiting for Jason's return from player media availability to close out the season in the locker room at Lambeau Field. We will continue to take your calls reacting to the end of the Packers season at the hand of the Chicago Bears. Coming up next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey, Tom, I want a new hoop for the kids. Any ideas?
Yeah, I got mine from Precision Sports over 10 years ago. They helped me choose the right hoop, installed it, and even painted my court lines.
Nice. How do I reach them?
Easy. PrecisionSportsOnline.com for a free quote.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank. Tri-City National Bank offers a full suite of personal and business banking products at more than 25 convenient locations. Open your account today at the community bank that's Milwaukee's best bank. Learn more at tcnb.com.
Despite leading 21-3 at halftime, the Packers had a historic collapse in the wildcard round of the playoffs against the Bears on Saturday. A Chicago touchdown gave them the lead with just under 2 minutes, and Jordan Love would be unable to lead a game-winning drive as the Bears would go on to win 31-27. Here's head coach Matt LaFleur after the game.
You know, adversity is part of this game, and bottom line is you got to find a way to overcome. And if you don't, you got to answer a lot of questions for it.
The Packers finished the season with a 9-8-1 record and are expected to work out an extension with Matt LaFleur this offseason.
This has been your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank.
Concerned about fraud? Tri-City's got your back. Use debit card alerts. Help stop a card hack. You'll get notified when your card's being used so you can prevent your account from abuse. Tri-City National Bank, member FDIC.
4 years. That's enough time to earn a college degree, to serve a full term as a president, to train for something big and become someone new.
You bet, and get 0% interest for 4 years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, so you can invest in your home and in life's biggest moments. With exclusive features and customizations, Pella offers the highest quality products at a price you can afford.
Aim high when setting your New Year's resolution and imagine what you can do in 4 years when you finance your home project with Pella. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Kyle Brust-Nortman's Ben Brust here for Grimal and Associates Insurance. They do what anyone with a growing family, like myself, does. Protect what matters most. Grimal and Associates specializes in coverage that's tailored exactly to you. Clients aren't just policies, they're part of their community. Personalized American Family Insurance back service, expert guidance, and genuine commitment. Grimal and Associates focuses on building trusted relationships and providing peace of mind. The same values they've had for over 30 years in the Milwaukee area. Connect with Grimal and Associates at teamgrimal.com.
Well, it's January, which means routines are back, but the sports action never slows down. Big football matchups, playoff intensity every weekend, and elite hoops almost every night. And when there's this much going on, it always feels good to be right, especially on Prize Picks. Mark Tauscher here, and Prize Picks is daily fantasy made simple. Pick at least 2 player projections, choose more or less, and you're done. No drafts, no waiting. I'm talking lineups you can make in under a minute. And now there's a new feature I love, early payouts. If your lineup starts hot, you can have the option to cash out before the game even finishes. And plus, with stacks, you can pick the same player up to 3 times in one lineup, points, assists, and threes all together, only on Prize Picks. Deposits and withdrawals, they're fast and easy, available in all 50 states. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code WI to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code WI to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
We'll get back to calls coming up here in just a minute. Jesse and Tausch currently on Wilde and Tausch. Jason attending media availability for the players in the locker room at Lambeau Field to round out the season here. Very inconvenient for the Packers to schedule that right in the middle of our show. We appreciate Jason being there. And he did just share with us, Zach Tom said he has a partially torn patellar tendon that will need surgery here in the offseason. So that isn't good. Tausch, what does that mean for the offensive line and for the Packers' best offensive lineman this year?
I think that's obviously that's a huge concern, and I think for everybody, Zach Tom fought his tail off to get out there and play, and for him to not be able to play in a playoff game, you knew there was some big things going on. So that, if you have to get your patella tendon fixed, that's a big boy recovery. So let's just hope that he's able to, go through that process along with some of these other guys and doing. It sucks. That is a big deal. And when you're trying to reboot this O-line and figure out how you're going to do it, Zach Tom is obviously going to be your centerpiece, and hopefully he'll be able to rehab and get that back so he'll be ready to go for the regular season.
Add that to the list of things that we want to be concerned about here this offseason following that loss to the Bears on Saturday night. Plenty to talk about as the offseason gets underway, including that developing news from Jason in the locker room. We will continue to hear what he has to share from that player availability. We're not sure exactly when he's going to come back and rejoin the show. We expect he will sometime here in the 11 o'clock hour. In the meantime, we will continue to take your calls. Coming up next, 844-770-3776, the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. Liss is more, reacting to the Packers' end of the season at the hands of the Chicago Bears. Final score 31-27 at Soldier Field on Saturday night. Tausch, you want to tell us quickly about American Family Insurance?
Indeed, I can. And since 1927, they've been committed to making life better with outstanding home and auto protection. Also, you're free to enjoy your dreams. So go ahead and insure carefully and dream fearlessly with American Family Insurance, proud partners of both the Green Bay Packers and the Wisconsin Badgers.
More of your calls reacting to the Packers' loss next as the 11 o'clock hour gets underway of Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Hey, it's Gary Ellison for Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center. Looking to escape the cold or take a midday break? Get your game on at Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center, where it's always golf season. Play more than 2,000 courses, including over 50 right here in Wisconsin. And even that famous course where they hand out green jackets. Top tech simulators, great food, and the best Bloody Marys around. This is your year-round slice of summer. Bays start at just $35 an hour, Monday through Friday. Book your bay today at WisconsinIndoorGolfCenter.com.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee. Why Z-Bart? Because you don't want rust holes in your expensive vehicle. Let Z-Bart keep the rust away with professional rust protection. Only at Z-Bart.
Despite leading 21-3 at halftime, the Packers had a historic collapse in the wildcard round of the playoffs against the Bears on Saturday. A Chicago touchdown gave them the lead with just under 2 minutes, and Jordan Love would be unable to lead a game-winning drive as the Bears would go on to win 31-27. Here's head coach Matt LaFleur after the game.
You know, adversity is part of this game, and bottom line is you got to find a way to overcome, and if you don't, you got to answer a lot of questions for it.
The Packers finished the season with a 9-8-1 record and are expected to work out an extension with Matt LaFleur this offseason. I'm Will Summers.
This has been your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee.
Do you want your car to shine like a diamond? Then you need Z-Gloss from Z-Bart. Z-Gloss gives you a mirror finish and protects your paint from everything Mother Nature can throw at it with a 10-year guarantee. Visit zbart.com for more information.
Hurt by a truck? Call Gruberg Offices. One call, that's all.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman from KBN. Tune into Kyle Breston Nortman from 2 to 5 every day. WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Still a lot to get to here in the 11 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch. Jesse and Tausch for right now. Jason Wilde attending end-of-season media availability in the Green Bay Packers locker room at Lambeau Field. Zach Tom says he will be undergoing surgery for a partially torn patellar tendon. That's one of the big stories this morning from end-of-season player availability in the Packers locker room.
And, Jesse, this is where, you know, from a reporter standpoint, and I know Jason would love to be on here listening to calls, you get a lot of really good raw, because the season's over and there's a lot of guys that won't be back, you're going to get as truthful. This was always that time of the year where guys are even probably more open and honest with their reporters. You heard Tucker Kraft last year say he had a lot of stinging things to say about leadership and how he needed to elevate himself, and I thought he did. So there's going to be a lot of really good stuff you get in these locker cleanouts because emotions are raw and people are going to be probably even that much more honest with the reporters than they are during the season.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I know Jason wishes he could be in both places at once. Believe it or not, I wish Jason was here and not me hosting the show right now because I think the insight that you both provide is fantastic.
No,
but,
you don't.
Hey, I'll take it.
No, you don't.
844-770.
Who are you kidding? You don't. There's not a camera and a microphone. You don't love more than anything. What are you talking
wish he
about?
was here.
Hunter, you know he's full of baloney. He'd love it if it was him here by himself right now.
Absolutely. Jesse just lied on the air to everybody.
Yeah, why would you lie?
Ridiculous.
Just embrace it.
The Carbless ESPN Wisconsin talking text line, 844-770-3776. Let's go to Dave in West Bend. Dave, you're up next with Jesse and Tausch on Wilde and Tausch. How you feeling this morning?
I'm kind of depressed, but I kind of follow with what the one earlier caller said earlier. When they missed the field goal right before the half, I kind of knew deep down that they were going to lose. And that sounds weird, but even when they were down by 11 points with 5 minutes, I almost turned the TV off and went to bed. I said, if they win tomorrow, I'll wake up, I'll be happy, I can read about it, I can watch it. Because They get out coached in the second half all the time. All the time. It happened with Mike McCarthy.
Hey, Dave, your phone connection's not sounding too good there. Sorry about that. It sounds like that happened with my parents one time. It was like a mouse was eating the phone line for the landline in their backyard. That's what that sounded like to me.
You tell me Dave has got a mouse nibbling at his phone line?
I'm not saying I don't know what the deal was. It just that phone connection wasn't so good, so we're going to cut Dave off there. But he did make an interesting point, I thought, Tausch, regarding what he was saying there. So what stands out to you about where the Packers are here as they now head into the offseason from that loss against the Bears Saturday night?
Well, all I'm thinking about now is a mouse eating phone lines.
Okay, yeah.
So
844-770-3776. That's the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. We'll see. Maybe we can get Dave to call back and he can share his point again if we can get a better connection
because I think he was going to go, and if Dave can, he obviously been hanging on for a long time, so fast pass him, Hunter, if he does call back. Because the Mike McCarthy component to this, and Jason's not here, but when he joins us coming back, I do remember there was a thought after that gut punch of a loss that it's so hard to recover and to get guys to buy back in after a punch like that. Can you recover as a staff and as a coach? And I think there are a lot of people that thought, Mike, you never would do it, but you need some new blood after something like that. Until further notice, and it's not the same, I get that. Saturday night was that game for Matt LaFleur. He has a lot of work to regain and for the team to, I guess, get this wiped. Because this is a memory this is one of those games. I've lived in some of them where it gets out of your head, but all it takes is a little trigger of somebody saying something, and all that comes back into your brain.
844-770-3776 is the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. Got a lot of people on hold. We're going to try and get to everybody before our show wraps up at noon. Let's go to Jason in Minnesota. Jason in Minnesota, you're up next on Wilde and Tausch with Jesse and Tausch. How you feeling, Jason?
Very, very, very frustrating. Okay, this is Big Mike. I'm going to come back. We've got an opportunity here. Okay. Listen, you know, we're going like, you know, Wilde wants to know how much of the blame lies on Goody. And I'm of the opinion, I just feel like just wipe the slate clean. Like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? This is kind of an issue at the highest level of the organization and how it has historically operated. And with the news breaking earlier this morning about they're trying to get a deal worked out with LaFleur, it doesn't seem like Ed Policy is going to be like his dad with, you know what's the size of church bells, and he's going to make the big drastic move, and it's going to pay off. Like that paid off for him. He brought the Lombardi back to San Francisco. That was a crazy move. And the Packers organization is just way too conservative. They don't make changes quickly. LaFleur doesn't make changes quickly. They don't move on from Barry. This is a draft and development organization, right? That's the whole theory. You fill in pieces with free agency, but you're a draft and develop, bread and butter. That's what you do. Well, we draft, but do we develop? Like, they don't want to pay coaching staff top dollar. They're cheap as an organization. They don't want to pay the coaching staff. And generally in life, you get what you pay for. So we're seeing a whole lot of drafting. And are we seeing a lot of development? Where's Lucas Van Ness? A lot of these draft picks just don't develop. It looks like Watson's come on bigly. Other than that, what are we developing? I don't know anything about ball, Tausch. Obviously, you do with attention to detail. You know what goes on in the trenches. You look at somebody like Mike Wall, and he breaks down, you know, game after game. And he's one of the main guys who's saying, like, I don't see the development. I don't see the improvement. There are basic tendencies these guys come in at out of college, and there are basic things that they've been taught wrong or they've been getting away with because they're supremely athletic in college. But then you get to the NFL, and these little details matter. And the development from the coaching staff does not seem to be there, okay? So somebody on Twitter summed this up really nicely, and I think it's hilarious. Packers have a boardroom meeting this week after the loss to the Bears. Executive number one, are the Arians Sledding Hill and Johnsonville Broadhouse still cash flow positive? Executive number two, yes, sir, very much so, sir. Strongest numbers yet. Executive number one, well, then let's not make any rash moves. Rest of board nods in sheepish agreement. This is the definition of insanity. Same thing over and over again. Tausch, you finally have come around and you get it. I've been calling the show for 2 years saying LaFleur doesn't have it. There's something fundamentally in his core, in the structure of his psyche, that does not have it. I think other teams know it. Other coaches know it. That's the whole take them into deep water, and we know they can't stand up. Are the players making mistakes? Yes. Is part of that on Goody because he's not packing the roster with enough leadership and older veteran players who maybe don't make mental mistakes? Though you look at what A.J. Brown did in Philly yesterday, everybody makes mistakes. But there's something about the core structure of LaFleur as a human being. He can't, when all the chips are on the table, he turtles. He doesn't have a counterpunch. When they he's way too slow to counterpunch in the adjustments. And if he does decide, I'm Dan Campbell, I'm a big man with tiny eyebrows in this league, and look at what I can do, look at the size of my you-know-what, what does he do? He makes completely insane, boneheaded decisions that are just reckless. It's like, no, that's not the time you do that. You know, like early in the first half, he goes for it on 4th and something from our 37. It's like, what are you doing, man? So I just feel like it's time for a change. There is no coach in NFL history that has not won a championship in the first 7 years with an organization that then went on to win it with that same organization. We've seen 7 years of it. I'm ready. Let's move on. Big Mike, 2026. A lot of opportunity, Tausch. Let's do it.
Jason in Minnesota, thanks for the call and for the great Mike McCarthy impression.
I do think Big Mike would savor an opportunity if this went and they can't come to terms with Matt LaFleur. I don't know how Packer fans would feel about that.
Nobody's left, right? Nobody's left from when he last coached.
I would love it if that was the case. Kind of just looking at from Matt LaFleur's standpoint and everything else, there's a lot of things that you could say there. The 7 years and nobody's won. You know, since then, it's an interesting point because you only have a certain shelf life as a head coach. Some guys last 19 years, like Harbaugh, Belichick, Mike Tomlin, they get caught up in it too. It's hard to win a championship. We all know that. It gets more difficult when you have the gut punches and the psychological things that you have to overcome when you lose games like you just lost. That makes this track even harder to get to.
844-770-3776. We will get to as many of the calls on hold as we can before our show wraps up. Here coming up at the conclusion at noon. Still waiting for Jason to return from media availability in the locker room after the season ends against the Chicago Bears on Saturday night. Before we go further, Tausch, once again, it was a rough night for what we had projected on Prize Picks on Saturday night. Although it looked like it was off to a great start on Saturday, then things got derailed in the second half.
Well, the Packer won, yeah. Josh Jacobs didn't score a tutter. He should have, but he didn't, and the shoulda, woulda, couldas. But that prior game, Old T was pretty good. Stafford, Puka, Bryce, all the boys. And that was the beautiful part. Big football matchups, playoff intensity. It was a great week of watching NFL sports and a great week on Prize Picks. And it is simple to play. No drafts, no waiting. All you do, take your projections, go more or less, set your lineup, and you're done in less than a minute. Plus, you have stacks. You can pick the same player up to 3 times in one lineup. Points, assists, threes, whatever it might be, all on Prize Picks. Download that Prize Picks app today. Use code WI. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that is code WI to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
Packers season ends against the Bears in the playoffs. More reactions coming up next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance. Stay up to date on the green and gold all season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee.
Looking for a delicious meal without breaking the bank? Cousin Subs has you covered. Our $10 meal deal gives you a 7.5-inch ham and provolone, turkey breast, or veggie sub piled high with fresh hand-sliced ingredients, crisp veggies, and all your favorite toppings. Add a bag of chips or regular fries, a fountain drink, and a cookie, all for just $10. This deal's available online or through the Cousins app only. And you can enjoy your meal at home, at work, or delivered straight to your door, hot and fresh. Cousin Subs. We believe in better. Available at participating locations. Offer subject to change.
4 4 years. That's enough time to earn a college degree, to serve a full term as a president, to train for something big and become someone new.
You bet, and get 0% interest for 4 years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, so you can invest in your home and in life's biggest moments. With exclusive features and customizations, Pella offers the highest quality products at a price you can afford.
Aim high when setting your New Year's resolution and imagine what you can do in 4 years when you finance your home project with Pella. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Kick off the new year with a smarter home and bigger savings with Exterior Pros and Baths. New windows to lock in the warmth, durable roofing, eye-catching siding, or a stunning bath makeover. Start the year off right and get $3,000 off your project. That's right, $3,000 back in your pocket during our New Year savings event. Call 262-800-4274 or visit extpros.com today. This deal won't last all winter. Exterior Pros and Baths. New year, new home, done right.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right, and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything, from the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Game Night Show for Events by Design. Events like appreciation parties and retreats can go a long way towards boosting morale and retaining top talent. Events by Design is your go-to creative partner for employee events that truly make an impact. They help leaders retain top talent by making their people feel seen, valued, and celebrated. The creative team at Events by Design does all the planning and production, making sure things not only look great, but also work. Make a smart investment in your culture today. Search online, Events by Design. They design, you party.
$2.3 million. A recent Schwab survey of Americans says that it takes $2.3 million to be wealthy. Well, you may have had your financial plan set on a bigger or a more humble number. But if you're looking for added insights on how to get there or how to avoid some tax pitfalls on the way, Annex Wealth Management is ready to listen. Mark Tauscher here, and whether your situation is complex or simple, the Annex Wealth Management team can give you wealth expertise and guidance on reaching your goals. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Jason Wilde continuing at end-of-season player media availability in the Packers locker room at Lambeau Field. Jesse and Tausch for the time being. 844-770-3776, the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line, where we continue to take your reactions to the Packers losing 31-27 to the Chicago Bears Saturday night at Soldier Field. Let's go to John, the horse trainer in Cleveland. One of our more eventful calls we've taken throughout the course of this football season. John, the horse trainer, you're on Wilde and Tausch with Jesse and Tausch. How's it going?
Hey, good, fellas. How we doing today? Kind of a stupid question, but that one hurt, man. Gosh, that Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, man, I don't know why, but they have a good way of getting underneath your skin, throwing shade at us kind of on and off all year. So that one, I felt like most Packer fans wanted that game more than anything and would have been okay with what happened after that would have been okay, you know, with just being depleted with injuries. But everybody's made some great calls. I love Jason's last call. He took the words right out of my mouth. But Tausch, you can testify to this. It comes to culture. and mental toughness. Culturally, Goody's always to me, this is just an opinion, Goody's always the smartest guy in the room. It was that way with Rodgers. He didn't want to make a tweak here or a tweak there to push us over the top on that run we had to 19 and 20. So you just felt like he wasn't going to go out there and do it, whether he had a bone with Aaron or he just felt like the roster was good enough. But, since he's taken over, we missed on T.J. Watt, Justin Jefferson. I think we picked Kevin King up over T.J. Watt. We missed on Cooper DeJean the year we drafted Jordan Morgan. But other than Golden and Love, we've spent the last 7 years on our first-round picks on defense. Well, how many of those guys were out there on Saturday that actually made a difference, and whether that's development or we just missing, I'll let you guys debate that. But, it looks like, to me, that kind of comes up and gets you in the butt after a little bit. And then LaFleur, man, he just looked scared the second half. You could just see the fear in his eyes. At the end of the day, I remember when The Last Dance came out, and, I'm 40, so I grew up watching Jordan, and, the guy's an assassin, and we don't have anybody on that team that's one a villain, one an assassin. I think Jordan Love, man, I love Jordan Love. I think he's got all the talent in the world, but he needs somebody in his ear. And, Aaron had it. Aaron was a killer. You can say whatever you want about him. The guy was a killer and he was a winner. Jordan Love needs to somehow find that chip on his shoulder, find that motivation to, even when LaFleur's losing it on the sideline, and you could see him, he just looked flustered. And that's the leader of our organization. So if we're all sitting here at home, and I'm with these guys, I knew after we missed that extra point that was going to set maybe a domino effect. I was worried after we missed that extra point, and I could feel the game slipping the whole time. Thoughts on any of that, Tausch?
Yeah, John in Cleveland, thanks for the call.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. A lot to dissect there, Tausch.
Yeah, I mean, there's this whole concept that there's no players developed and nobody made plays. Lucas Van Ness got hurt throughout this season, but he's been back the last couple weeks and he's made impactful plays. He made a big play in the game on Saturday. Edgerrin Cooper has developed into he's become a really good football player. So now if you want to look at the secondary and some of the issues since Mike has been out, yeah, I'm on board with you. I get it. Rashawn Gary, I get it. I can't fight you on that. As far as the culture and everything else, there is just something, and it's not something that you can see or tangibly, but you can just kind of notice it, and it comes back to the psyche that we feel because we've seen it play itself out over and over. The missed extra point, oh, God, yeah, but it was well before that. And if we're feeling that way, other teams are probably feeling that way. Hey, just keep it close. We can, I keep coming back to it because I think it's fascinating that taking people out and dragging them out in the water and doing, that comes down to we don't know what kind of resiliency you have. We know that if we can get you there, we like our chances. That's what the opposing teams tell you about where this team is, the Green Bay Packers. Take that for what it's worth. You come to your own conclusions. I know what my conclusions are. It means they think they're tougher and that they have more chutzpah than you do. That's what that tells me. And whether that's true or not, we've seen the movie play. This has not been, it's been a comedy of errors. There's been a lot of drama, but mostly it's been horror. 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 That's a hard word to say. It can get misconstrued. So I just want to make sure Spotify and YouTube, all that.
Yeah. Thank you for
the
enunciation.
We have had horror movies this 16 years. It has ended in horror for Packer fans almost every time.
Horror.
888-985-3776.
844-770-3776, Carbless, ESPN Wisconsin, talk and text line. We're now getting to the portion of the callers list where I'm starting to worry if there are Bears fans potentially trying to infiltrate us.
Hey, to the victor go the spoils, man. If Bear fans want to call in and give us grief, nobody was saying that when we were talking about owning you and everything else, which was 100% true. They earned the right to talk a bunch of blank to us. Lord knows we talked enough. Hey, if you're going to give it, you better take it.
Well, I hope
that's how this world works.
I hope that's not the case. I just don't know if a couple of these callers are going to be trying to pull a fast one on us here on the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. So let's gamble. Derek in Lake Geneva. You never know in Lake Geneva. Could go 50-50 either way here. Welcome to Wilde and Tausch. How you doing following the Packers' loss to the Bears on Saturday night?
I'm doing fine, seeing as how I held on for an hour, 24 minutes. I sure as hell am not a Bears fan. Tausch, you are the king of analogies, so you're going to get this one, but I'm going to make a first comment. So Brad Morton of KBN said, Luke Fickell erased 30 years of Barry Alvarez's work in 3 years. Well, apparently Matt LaFleur did the same thing with 30 years of Packer dominance in 1 year, okay? I remember the exact date when Matt LaFleur lost me. And it was a Monday night game with Taylor Heineke at the helm of the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football. At halftime, we were getting our doors blown off, and he got interviewed, and he looked like a deer in the headlights. His eyes were glossed over. He looked like a little girl who just got her money taken on the playground from a bully. That's when I knew this guy did not have the intestinal fortitude to drive our team. I've known it for years. Now, talk about driving. You know, our coach is kind of like a car, and we've had him for 3 years, okay? Well, it's had intermittent check engine lights that come on, and they're flashing the same codes, okay? And now we're to the point, like, why don't we just trade it in? But what management is not understanding is that LaFleur drove this car last Saturday with a wedding party into it, and basically the car died a quarter mile from the off-ramp. Now, you're going to try to tell us that we're going to take this car back into the shop, we're going to fix it, it's going to be like brand new, and it's going to get us from A to B. This is Green Bay, darn it. We're not trying to get from A to B. We're trying to get from A to SB, as in the Super Bowl. So I don't want to hear any of this stuff about, we're potentially going to re-up this guy. If we don't pull the Band-Aid off now, if not now, when? I mean, we've all seen coaches that lose their locker room, Tausch, and you've seen it before. But what happens when you lose the fan base? This thing is so far tilted to one side, you can't tell me Polian is going to basically say, hey, we're re-upping this guy with everything that has occurred now? I mean, seriously? I mean, Tausch, you understand this, and I'm kind of glad Jason's not on here because you were trying to ask him, what don't you understand? Jason is a great guy, a great father, a great person, but he is too Pollyanna in his questioning. That is his one downfall. I just need to know, when are we going to get serious about this?
Well, there you go, Jason. The question is to you, Tausch. We appreciate the call there from Derek in Lake Geneva.
Here's what I would say.
I don't know if I don't like coming after Jason on the question. I think he does a great job asking questions of all the coaches.
So what I would say to Derek is you don't make decisions based on what the fans think. You listen and you have understanding of what it is, but the question I said is, what is going to change? What is going to change? We have 7 years now of what this looks like under Matt LaFleur. And as I said earlier in the show, there's a lot of positives. Winningest coach in the history of NFL football through 3 years. His winning percentage in the regular season is fantastic. But we haven't won a division title. We have not had really any substantial postseason success. And we've been positioned in every way you can, mostly 1 seeds or 7 seeds. In the last 3 or 4 years, you have to wonder. The question you have to ask is: can you get the big moments? Can Matt LaFleur win in the big moments when the big things are needed? And the answer has been no. Why is that going to change? And if you can give up good answers, okay, I want to hear them. But otherwise, until then, Packer fans' expectations are going to be tempered. Great regular season, average regular. We're going to be a playoff team. You can almost take that to the bank. Don't know where. If you ask me the last Olympiad, we're not going to win the division.
We're going to be the seventh seed based on what the history is here.
We're going to sneak into the playoffs, and maybe will get hot, and we might win a game. And then if the going gets tough, we're not going to have answers to solve the problems. That's what we've seen. And I know that is not good enough for Packer fans, and I know that's not good enough for the organization. And what happens if Matt LaFleur gets a 5-year contract extension? You can basically write this offseason. Every Packer fan is going to say, until proven otherwise, this is who we are. And we're sick of getting our hearts broke, but that's what has been happening. And, again, it is hard. But it's been 16 years. I feel like what's-her-face on the Titanic. It's been 16 years. So fans have every right to ask it. And, by the way, I hope Ed Policy is asking it. How is it going to change? How do we get off of this path where we keep ending up, we don't have enough gas or the check engine light? We get close. We're on the freeway, but we never get home. We always end up short. I love pushing the envelope with gas mileage. I love it. It's fun. I have some Kramer in me in that regard. I like the fuel. I like the engine light going on. Can I get there? How can I make it from point A to point B? But when you're trying to win a championship, you can't run out of gas. You can't have these issues come up. And by the way, if they do, have a tank in the back of your car, shove it in there and get home. Have your tire. Have solutions. What are they? Can Matt LaFleur come up with them? Those are your questions.
Just a warning, we are probably not going to get to everybody who is still on hold on the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin Talk and Text line. We will try to get to as many of you as we can. Still waiting on Jason to get back from player media availability at the locker room in Lambeau Field. In the meantime, we will continue to take your calls until noon. 844-770-3776 is the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin Talk and Text line. We will continue with your reactions to the Packers season ending to the rival Chicago Bears on Saturday night. That's next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Your New Year routine just got a major refresh thanks to Carbless. Staying mindful, Carbless has 0 sugar and 0 carbs. Watching calories? We've got you covered. Still want something bold and delicious? Well, that's our specialty at Carbless. Whether you're out celebrating or settling into post-holiday goals, Carbless keeps things light, fun, and completely guilt-free. Start your 2026 with flavor and no compromise. Celebrate the new year with bold flavor, 0 guilt, and a drink that keeps things light. Happy New Year from Carbless. Let's make your new year feel flawless.
My husband's an animal in bed.
Well, you know.
Not in the fun way. Think warthog. With a chainsaw.
Snoring and sleep apnea affect over 90 million people, and 1 out of 4 couples sleep in separate rooms. Advent can help. We've been Milwaukee's one-stop solution for nasal congestion, snoring, and sleep apnea for over 20 years. Unlike many other practices, we focus exclusively on these conditions, so you get comprehensive care under one roof. Advent's unique approach can help you breathe and sleep better, and many avoid a CPAP. Plus, most insurance is accepted for our effective 20-minute in-office treatments.
Hey, the only animal you want in your bed is your dog.
Advent. Sleep better. Sleep together. Learn how you can improve your life at adventknows.com.
Here's a dose of reality. Driving under the influence of prescription painkillers is just as illegal and just as deadly as driving drunk. In fact, there are nearly 2,000 drug-related crashes every year in Wisconsin. Help prevent drug driving, and let's achieve 0 preventable deaths on Wisconsin roadways. Driving on pills kills. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Departments of Health Services, Transportation, and Justice.
And ESPN Radio Extra Point with Michelle Smallman.
As of the firing yesterday, as Schefter reported, they had not yet reached out to John Harbaugh. That doesn't mean that they aren't aware of his interests through communication with other people. I would be very surprised if he's not in the mix there. But I was a little surprised with the timeline of this all, that Mike McDaniel is allowed the space to come out and do a press conference saying he is going to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins and be involved with the GM search in some way until he's told otherwise. Why wouldn't you make this move before you start interviewing GM candidates? And I know maybe the thought process was, let's get some outside voices in here and let's collect some data points on what they think about our head coach, these people that we think are qualified enough to build our program back to where it needs to be. But I was just surprised they would tell him that he was safe and then turn around a couple days later and fire him like this.
The college football playoff isn't over. Not yet. That epic run, that wild dream, not over till the clock hits 0, till the stadium shakes, till the wild things are let loose, till the trophy is lifted and the confetti falls. This is the national championship. When it's over, you'll feel it. This is the wild world of college football. The CFP National Championship, Monday, January 19th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ETHOS.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
All right, so here's the deal. We are going to do a little Wilde and Tausch overtime today on our social media platforms. The Wilde and Tausch Twitter feed, the Wilde and Tausch Facebook page, the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. We're going to go an extra segment beyond noon today to continue some reactions because there's a lot we haven't talked about. We're hoping Jason will be back here in a few minutes to share what he learned from locker room media availability today as the season ends up in Green Bay. Still have a few calls we want to get to, so we're going to leave a little extra time on our social media platforms. Rich Eisen Show will still start at noon here on ESPN Wisconsin over the air on 94.5 ESPN, 100.5, 1430, ESPN Beaver Dam, all of those. But over our digital platforms, we will continue until about 12:15 with a little Wilde and Tausch overtime. So if you want to join us for our extra session, join us on our social media platforms. You have 15 minutes or so to get there for our extra time starting at noon. Jesse and Tausch while Jason's at media availability. We're going to try to get to a few more calls here before noon. 844-770-3776. Doug in Las Vegas. You're on Wilde and Tausch. How you feeling this morning, Doug?
Hey, I'm feeling like Matt LaFleur shouldn't be the coach of the Packers, and I'll get right to it. I've been a fan for 50 years. I lived through the 70s and 80s in mediocrity that the Packers organization just tolerated bad coaching, and it took Ron Wolf to come in with a culture change in 91. Tausch, you keep on bringing up the Robert Saleh quote, and I think that quote's very important because not only what it said, but when it was said in 2022, 3 years ago. There's only 14 players on that team that are currently on this team. So when somebody called in earlier and said it's the players, not the coaches, when the same things keep happening and the players change drastically, 75% of the players for what Robert Saleh was talking about aren't on the team anymore, it's a culture thing, and it starts with the coach. And what exactly is Matt LaFleur going to say that all of a sudden he has an epiphany and his culture is going to change? He's going to become a different person, different coach? I just don't see it.
All right, thanks, Doug. Appreciate the call. Tausch, what's he going to say?
Yeah, it's got to be about action. It's not going to be about words. It's going to be holding guys accountable. It's going to be how you go and play football, and that's that physical. And I think the defense, there's more physicality than what there has been in the past. Mike Daniels said some similar stuff when he left Green Bay, if you remember. And you take that for what it's worth. But there are questions, and when it comes to Matt LaFleur, and this is where sometimes people judge books by its cover. I know in my life, Lord knows I've been judged. That's how this world works. You have to prove otherwise. When certain things are, And the proof is by how your teams play. And Matt LaFleur I think he's got smart football teams, but there's a reason Bob Saleh said that. There's a reason Dan Campbell said that is how they feel. And they know. And Ben Johnson, you best believe Ben Johnson, just watch how he approaches. He doesn't respect Matt LaFleur. Ben Johnson doesn't. I thought it was Bush League what happened the other night. It's what it is. It's what I don't understand it, but they think you can out tough and out physical and you can just outlast a Matt LaFleur Green Bay Packer team. That is how they feel. And how you change that, it's players, it's your coaches, but it's a mentality and a way you go about your business. And it is fair to ask, why would that change after 7 years? It's a fair question. I don't have answers for that. It's not my job to have those answers. I'm telling you, you can set tones with players, coaches. It can be a myriad of things.
844-770-3776. Luke in Chicago. You're up next on Wilde and Tausch with Jesse and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch continues next on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance. Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some. Why are you throwing? I don't want.
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
By me, by the way. I hit that microphone like 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
This is Kevin Moret from Mentality. Every day is a silent competition, and with testosterone dropping 1% annually, you're fighting an uphill battle. Your colleagues notice when you lose your edge, your partner senses when your confidence wavers, and without addressing low T, you're set up to fail. No willpower can overcome this hormonal deficit. Mentality's FDA-approved treatments have shown a 30% increase in testosterone levels. Don't let low T define you. Reclaim your power at mentalityhealth.com/radio. That's mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right. And naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
Let's go! You've still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Having a tough time paying your bills? Learn how to reduce your credit card debt to a fraction of what you owe. Call the Debt Helpline now for free advice. 800-329-9912. 800-329-9912.
Mark Tosher here for Iron Jock. Well, it's a new year, and that means new goals. Iron Jock is here to help you stay committed to those goals, whether you're hitting the gym, heading to work, or just trying to smell a whole lot better in 2026. Formulated to fight sweat, odor, and bacteria, Iron Jock keeps you feeling fresh no matter how hard you push. But right now, you can get 30% off all Iron Jock gear on orders over $75. Just use promo code ESPN30. That's ESPN30 for 30% off your order over $75. Shop now at ironjock.com.
It's time for the Marquette Minute on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Matrix Basements.
The Golden Eagles came up just short in a 76-73 loss to Villanova on Saturday at Pfizer Forum as they were unable to convert at the buzzer to force overtime. Freshman Nigel James Jr. was sensational, finishing with 31 points and 6 assists while going 7 for 9 from three-point land.
Off in the corner to Stevens, back to Chase Ross, off to James. Open three, good again! Good again! 20 53 for Nigel
Said
James.
he could be hot. After 2 home games this past week, the Golden Eagles will now hit the road as they'll take on St. John's on Tuesday and DePaul on Friday. I'm Will Summers.
This has been the Marquette Minute on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Matrix Basements. Visit gomarquette.com/matrix to enter to win 4 tickets to National Marquette Day Saturday, February 7th when Marquette hosts Butler. This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Sponsored by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com. You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
After a crash with a semi-truck, everything can change instantly. At Gruber Law Offices, we have the knowledge and experience to make sure you're protected. And we're here to help whenever you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Buying a new roof might not be the most exciting thing you'll do this year, but for us at Big Fish Contracting, being chosen to do that roof for you not only provides income for multiple families in southeastern Wisconsin, but has a global reach and impact around the world. To us, it's more than just a roof. We've been earning trust for over 2 decades, roofing, siding, windows, and more. Go to bigfishcontracting.com to learn how Big Fish is renovating homes and redeeming an industry.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Sponsored by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com. All day, every day. The Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you.
First off, there is not one team that's on the fringe that scares me.
800-990-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more. You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Can you feel it? It's the thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a game-winning touchdown, a buzzer-beating 3. Yeah, you know the feeling. And there's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration. Potawatomi Sportsbook. Catch all the action in a supreme space with dozens of sports betting kiosks, cool drinks, luxe seating, great food, fiery atmosphere, and a monster video wall. Become a legend at Potawatomi Sportsbook. More info online. Must be 21 to enter casino.
Wilde and Tausch going to overtime, an extra segment after 12 p.m. exclusively on our digital platforms, the Wilde and Tausch Twitter feed, the Wilde and Tausch Facebook page, and the ESPN Madison and ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channels. In large part, that's because Jason had to step away for media availability for the players closing out the season in the locker room at Lambeau Field, and we are happy to share that Jason now returns to Wilde and Tausch. Hi, Jason. How'd it go down there?
Hey, I'm really sorry that I missed all that time. I was really enjoying how things were going for me. It was really productive. First of all, let's start with and before I go any further, I know we got to get out, but we've got our overtime coming up on video and on YouTube. Before anyone says, well, what are they going to say if Matt LaFleur's coming back? Tucker Kraft and Micah Parsons with extremely strong endorsements, which Tausch knows this as well as anyone. And frankly, I didn't think the endorsement from, say, Rasheed Walker, for example, was even lukewarm. So not every player feels this way. But Micah Parsons, and I'm quoting from him to our group as we were discussing his feelings about Matt LaFleur. I reached out to him when I started seeing this, and I said, when I agreed to come here, you were part of the reason. Tucker Kraft discussing Matt LaFleur and how important he is to what they do here. Tucker Kraft's line was, I don't think there's another coach who can come in here and do it as well as he does. I think Matt is an outstanding coach. Again, I know that's not what people want to hear right now, but that's what those two players were talking about. Also, Tucker Kraft talking extensively about, I don't want to make excuses about injuries, but essentially that this was a Super Bowl team if he and Micah Parsons stay healthy. So we will have much more from the locker room. Also, Xavier McKinney called Ben Johnson a troll, which I thought was a pretty good description of how Ben Johnson has kind of approached that, his approach with the Packers. So we will have more during our overtime session, which, Jesse, I believe that begins forthwith.
In 2 minutes, we're going to do our Sports Center like a normal top of the hour, and then we will get going. Yeah.
So stick around, but take care, be good if you're leaving.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Commercial-free full show podcasts are available free on the ESPN Wisconsin app.
But I do think that there is a feeling in that locker room that he still is the right guy. Now, again, they may be wrong. We'll have to wait and see. To me, it was among the overarching themes that I heard from Micah Parsons, from Tucker Kraft, from Xavier McKinney, from Zach Tom, was frankly the idea of how much the injury issues factored in. Tausch, is that a fine line to walk if you are a player, blaming that without sounding excuse-making? Because Tucker Kraft was leading the charge in terms of that conversation.
Well, he should feel that way, but it comes back to nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, that's just the reality of the NFL. It can be 100% a good, valid reason, and it is, but that wasn't the case. That wasn't why we didn't win Saturday night. Like, you could say, well, if Micah played it, but we were in position to win that game without those guys. Now, could we have won a championship? Probably not. But every team has injuries. If we're being honest, this was an unfair year to the Green Bay Packers. You're talking about when you add Zach Tom's injury, which we didn't know about completely until you said he's got a patella. You're talking about 3 of your best 6 players not available to you for a big chunk of the season. I don't care who you are. Now, that's obviously the quarterback. Jordan missed a couple of games. That's the top thing. That's a huge hurdle to overcome. But the bottom line is nobody cares. You have to have depth. You have to have answers to those questions. And is it fair? No. But nobody really, in the grand scheme, this season will be remembered for this gut punch loss. And then also all of the injuries. And that will be a reason, and yet it will also be an excuse. And both of those things can be true.
So I understand that. Believe me, I understand that. When it comes to evaluating Matt LaFleur, how much, if any, of a factor should that be? If that's what the players are saying, how much of a factor should that be for the rest of us that are giving our opinions on the head coach? 0?
I think it's no, it should be a factor. But for this game, I really believe and we had this argument last week about, well, just beat the Bears, and if you lose to Seattle, everybody can kind of say it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. If Micah Parsons was healthy Saturday night and this same thing happened, does that change the equation for Ed Policy at all?
Maybe. Quite possibly, frankly.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's where you start looking at this and say, yeah, what are you getting mad at me about? Like, I just asked a question. This whole ordeal, you're going to look at it from different perspectives, but Saturday night had to at least pause all of the conversation we heard pregame. You had to at least think, why is this going to be any different? I'm telling you right now, this is going to be – Packer fans are going to temper their expectations until further notice, because you're going to have an offseason where Tucker Kraft won't be available, where Micah's not going to be available. Now, at some point during training camp and hopefully early in next season, we heard Micah say he hopes to be back sometime in September. That'll be great. But why would you have any expectation other than we're going to be a playoff team and we're going to get knocked out in the playoffs? That is what we've seen. And until otherwise noticed, that is what Packer fans' expectations are going to be.
So the number 7 seed is obviously the biggest harsh criticism of what these guys have done, right? That, they made the playoffs, but they've been the 7th seed. So at what point, because that's 3 years now, 3 years running, they missed the playoffs without Aaron Rodgers in 2022. So to what degree, you look at them last year, do you think this team was better than last year's team? I think so, right? I don't think there's any doubt about that. Even though their record was worse because they couldn't beat anybody who was any good. They beat the Lions twice this season. They beat the Bears 1 out of 3. That's not good enough. I get it. But when you look at the fact that they have transitioned, like there was a period where there was all kinds of credit for, hey, what a great job you've done transitioning from a Hall of Fame quarterback to your next quarterback. How does that factor in? Because one of the things that I would say that needs to be emphasized, if you're looking for reasons that Matt LaFleur deserves consideration, it's that he's developed a couple of quarterbacks now, right? He developed his starter into a good player, and he also took a guy that was on the scrap heap and made him into probably a starter for someone else. Does that is part of the equation too, right? You would have liked to have seen, I know Rob Domofsky wrote this, you would have liked to have seen Jordan Love in his third year as the starter, like Aaron Rodgers in his third year as the starter, go win a Super Bowl, right? Just like Aaron Rodgers did. That did not happen. And you were on that team in 2010. When you look at Jordan Love and you look at where Rodgers was in 2010, you guys got hot at the right time. Otherwise, you were a 6 seed. If you wouldn't have made the playoffs if there was a only 5 seeds, right? So when you look at what that team did, is that what this team is short of? Is the one run where you just everything falls into place and your quarterback plays great? He was great on Saturday night, but how are we looking at Mike McCarthy if things don't fall the way they did in 2010, right? They fell great, and you guys earned every bit of that title, but you did it the hard way. These guys didn't get that done. So I understand all the frustration that I was missing out on down in the locker room, but I do think that the player's opinion matters some, but I think the point that you repeatedly have brought up about what's going to make it different, I don't know. I think there's going to be changes on this staff. If Matt LaFleur is indeed back, which is not decided, it is not official, none of those things have been announced, but there's going to have to be changes. And I think Matt LaFleur doesn't need to have them forced upon him. I think he knows that there are some things that need to be different. And I am curious how the urgency and everything else that's going to come with this is going to change how he approaches things. The feeling in the locker room from defensive players, talking with X, talking with Micah Parsons, is that selfishly they want Jeff Hafley back. They don't expect that. So there will also be that. And I think we can agree that when you get that position wrong, your defense struggles. That also makes it much harder. So one of the things Matt LaFleur has to do well to make sure that things are different is hire really well. And I don't know how many positions he's going to hire for. Special teams coordinator. I mean, it's possible that he will have to hire for all 3 coordinator positions. And I think when we look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they're a great example of their coach looks a hell of a lot smarter when he has good coordinators than when he doesn't, right? So that is part of this equation too, along with players who execute and players that, and look, again, my job is to tell you what people have said, and if my theories are off base, I need to acknowledge that. Xavier McKinney said I'm wrong about thinking that there's too much immaturity with too many young guys. He doesn't think that's the issue. He
What's
does
the
think
issue?
He kept saying execution. And what my argument would be, and again, I love X, and it's great that we disagree because he's the guy who's out there every snap. But I think execution.
Did you get an idea from X what happened in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I flat out asked him, okay, so if
What
it's
did he
not
say?
immaturity, then how the hell does a defense that was so damn good, I will send along the audio because I wasn't using video, but how the hell does a defense that was so damn good for so much of the year allow 25 points in the fourth quarter? And, you know, he gave me that they're a good-ass team and, you know, they couldn't cover Colston Loveland to save their lives. That was a major problem.
Why? Why couldn't they?
He said they played more zone than man. And he thought that was part of the problem. That Colston Loveland just found the openings in the zone repeatedly, and the quarterback extended plays, and they didn't know how to defend that. So that was an X's and O's explanation. I think he also implied that there were guys that didn't do what they were supposed to do. And I think there was a hell of a lot of that on both sides of the ball.
Did we hear anything from Keyshawn? Did Hobbs let him talk?
He did talk. I was talking to X when he was talking, so I did not get him.
Okay.
I will have the transcript later, and maybe some audio as well. So, all right. As much as I would love to stay longer, Jesse's telling me that that's it for us.
Yeah, the Mr. Irrelevant crew has to get in here and get situated. Alex Strofe, Josh DiMaggio, Hunter Vaughn, that whole crew starting at 12:30 on our YouTube channel. So,
how long does it take them to set up?
At least 15 minutes, apparently.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that we had a little bit of bonus time together. We'll do it again tomorrow, but not from 12 to 12:15, or maybe we will. Will we have more time tomorrow because there's no Mr. Irrelevant?
We will, yeah. All the time we want tomorrow.
All right. Well, we will keep you updated throughout the day if there are more hard and fast decisions made on the head coach. This has been Digi Only Bonus Edition.
Kinda, yeah. I don't know how that all plays, but yeah.
Thanks for coming along for the ride with us today. I'm okay with the amount I actually rode in the car today. We'll do it again tomorrow. Have a great day. Take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella